Welcome, everybody. It is 4 o'clock. I am gonna call the Concord-Carlisle Regional School Committee to order.
I will call the Concord School Committee to order.
And we need to roll call because we have 2 members on Zoom.
Urchek present.
Kelleher present.
Morano present.
Majority present.
Rankin present.
Waters is present.
Waters are present.
Sorry about that.
All good.
Okay, and with that,
Sure. I move that the Concord School Committee and Concord-Carlisle Regional School Committee will enter into executive session under Purpose 3 of the Open Meeting Law to conduct strategy sessions with respect to collective bargaining with the bus drivers and return to open session.
and a second.
Second.
All right, roll call.
Urchek, aye.
Kelleher, aye.
Morano, aye.
Majority aye.
Rankin, aye.
Watterson, aye.
Williams, aye.
Okay, and we will be back for those of you that are watching in maybe 5 or 10 minutes. So here we are back. Welcome, everybody. I am happy to tell you we have the unified polling team and the unified team with us today, so we'll call you guys up and you can join us so we can be recognized. Lori, do you wanna say anything?
Sure. So we're really excited, after some very successful seasons of unified track and basketball this past winter just ended. We
You
launched
can sit if you want.
the first unified bowling season, so we're really excited to hear more about it and share with you, and we're gonna turn it over to Coach Reed from there.
Great. Hi, everybody. My name's Josh Reed, teacher at the high school, head football coach and unified coach for track and field. Just to give you a little context just about unified sports. So unified sports is dedicated to promoting social inclusion through shared sports training and competition experiences. Unified sports joins people with and without intellectual disabilities on the same team. It was inspired by a simple principle: training together and playing together is a quick path to friendship, understanding, and belonging. And to give you some context, we, myself and Mr. Jonkis, brought unified sports here to the high school, and then COVID hit, and then so we had a bump at a year. So our first season was for track, which was in 2022. And that season, we only had 17 students involved. And now, this being our 5th season, we actually have 51 students that are involved throughout the high school. And then in 2024, we were able to get unified basketball. And then this past winter, we were able to get unified bowling, which is an incredible, landmark, because now we offer unified sports in all 3 athletic seasons of the season. And the beauty of it is, unified sports at its core is it gets everybody involved regardless of your ability level. And the relationships that I've seen over the last 5 years form between our athletes and our mentors has been inspiring and incredible. And I have 3 of our veteran athletes, or our mentors that are here, that are going to share their story. The great thing about it is that Presley Rogers here and Milano have been with us all 4 years. And then Cat Field has been 3 years now as a junior. And I still remember just a quick story, and then they'll go, is that the first year that we had unified sports, there's a lot of energy with this group. And we brought them in to get uniforms. And the uniforms that we had was designed by one of our Pathway students that they have here. And so this is something that we've carried through all 5 seasons. And a lot of them had never received a uniform before in sports. And we lined them up in the bleachers, and they were all sitting there waiting for it, quiet as a mouse. No one spoke. Everybody just waited for it. And the moment that you gave them the jersey, you knew it meant something, and it felt that connection to athletics, to the school, to the community as a whole, right? That they've never felt before, and it really just opened so many doors for everybody, as a mentor role, as an athlete, and just to see that pride they felt. And I have a uniform. This is who I am. I'm a part of something, and that's very special to see. And also this year I created, I'm a health and fitness teacher, so I created a unified health and fitness class for sophomores, which has been remarkable to see the impact that it's had, and it's just really special, and I'm grateful to be a part of it, and grateful to have wonderful mentors like this that are involved in the school, and they make the commitment to it just like everybody else does. So I'll go right down the line. I'll start with Presley, and he can share his experience.
Hi guys, I'm Presley Rogers. I'm a senior. I just want to say like Unified Track has like changed my life, and I feel as though like I've had like a nice impact, and they've had an impact on me. Like I'll walk through the halls and I'll see like an athlete in the hall, and like all of a sudden like I could be having a bad day, they could be having a bad day, and it's just like smiles like ear to ear. It's like it's the best thing in the world. It's like give them a fist bump, like makes your day. And it's like it's so fun. Yeah, it's just like my story is like last year we had Michael, one of the athletes, gave a presentation, and it was his birthday like the week before, and the theme for his birthday party was Unified Track, and they all wore their jerseys to his birthday party, and like it's like their world. And like makes their day every time.
That's great.
And my name's Abby Morano, and I'm also a senior who's been on Unified for 4 years. And my favorite part is just how supportive the community is, and like at every like practice and meets, it's like constantly cheering each other on, and like everybody just like wants to succeed, and everyone does get to succeed. And I also love like seeing the athletes like in school, like. I'm in Rivers and Revolutions, and one of the athletes, Emerson's also in it. So like we get to like see each other every day, and like he knows that like he has a friend in me and can always like come and talk to me during the day.
I'm Kathy Field. I'm a junior, and I think like one of the like most like unique things about Unified, like sports in general, is like I mean personally I've played sports my entire life, and I've never like gone to a meet or like a game and like been connected to the other school as much as like Unified is like connected to the other school. Like you don't go to like be like rude and like be snarky and like petty and like only try to win. Like you go to make friends there and be kind with all of them. And I wasn't expecting that freshman year when I went, but like when I went and all these like athletes from the other school were coming up to me and like introducing themselves and saying like, I'm so happy I get to compete with you today. Like I was like, wow, like this is just like amazing. It just gave like a whole different perspective to competition in like a just like unified way. Like everyone is like together and having fun without like I mean obviously there is competition, but like it's more just like getting to know everyone and getting to create connections with people not even just on your team but every other team that you compete with.
That's great. Anyone have any questions about Unified Sports? Okay, I need to know when the meets are.
Oh, that
Is
was
it on the
that was
schedule?
my list.
Is it on the list?
So if
Okay.
you're looking for something to do, we have
Yes.
a meet on Monday, April 13th. It's home at Emerson, and I believe it's 4 o'clock.
All right. And
Sandy
you've like,
has a question too.
oh, Sandeep, go ahead.
It's a question for, guess the athletes. Can you share maybe something that you learned from being part of this team that you didn't expect?
Well, I learned that like everybody wins in their own way. Like for example, like one of the athletes, Emerson, he ran the 400 for the first time with me freshman year, and that was like the biggest accomplishment for him. We ran it in like probably 6 minutes, and it was like the most fun. And like even though we got lapped, and like it was like it was like the biggest accomplishment for him, and like everybody can win, and like everybody has their own goals, not just like everybody's in a competition with one another, and everybody's cheering each other on. Like we like have like a high five line across the whole thing. Like it's a blast.
Anybody else?
I mean, I think like when you go to like all the meets, like I think it's like I learned that like you can leave a competition like feeling good without like no matter if you like win or lose or like do badly or don't like do well, like you don't have to be the best like, you don't have to be the best on this team, you don't have to be the best to compete, like, you just, like, you go, you have fun, and you leave happy, like, no matter what the outcome was, cause like, it's just like, the whole point of it is like going and hanging out with people and supporting each other without the whole, like, oh, I need to win, I need to be the best on the team, and like, in my head, that's what sports was, but then after joining this team and seeing that, I was like, no, that's not what sports is about. It's about something much bigger than winning.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah,
We
thank
wish you
you.
luck in your season, and then the end of the season, you also do something with other schools. Do you wanna talk about that?
Yeah, so 3 years ago, Westford, a group of seniors from Westford created this thing called the Westford and Friends. And they invite, I think there's about 8 schools that go, and it's they do it during the school day, and it's wonderful because a lot of the classes from Westford, they'll come out to the track and they'll join, like they'll be supporters and cheer people on. And you go through different events, and there's a big ring ceremony, because a lot of the unified sports is sponsored through Special Olympics. And so they'll have a ring ceremony, and kids will get medals, and there's different activities that go around, and there's firefighters and police officers that volunteer to be goalies, and it's not just track events. There's baseball toss, there's dance competitions, or there's just a way to get everybody involved, and it's really cool to see teams that you haven't competed with and be able to meet, and then you get to see teams that you saw earlier in the season, and then the beauty of it is that a lot of these teams now, year after year, you start to recognize other people from other teams, and that relationship that you have with them, that you had no idea that anybody recognizes you, and they're like, Coach Reed, I'm like, oh my God, you remember my name? Like, and they come up and it's either like this big high five or a monster hug, and it's just so special to see the impact that everybody can make. It was a great idea that they've continued on now. This will be the 3rd or 4th year that they're doing it, which is a great way to wrap it off. And I think it's May 15th this year.
Great.
So we're looking forward to that as well.
That's great. Well, thank you for being with us. It's just another great way to showcase some great programming at our high school that people might not know about if you don't have kids at the high school or whatever, but follow the social media accounts. And the Pat's AD account is always following Unified Sports. I think Unified Bowling has its own account.
Yeah, Unified Bowling and Track.
And Track have their own accounts. Okay, so follow the accounts if you're watching at home. And thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you. And you can feel free, you don't have to stay for the rest of our meeting. I know that you might have some homework to do or something like that. Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye. All right, next up, we have our superintendents and chairs update. I'll turn it to Lori first.
Great, thank you. This is an eclectic list, but all of it's worth reading, so bear with me that I didn't really put it in a logical order. I wanna highlight that this morning, a few of us were at the Concord Audit Advisory Committee meeting. And Bob gets all the shout outs because we were able to report, he was able to report that we've got clean audits for FY '24 and as of this week, 25 too. So that was really fantastic to be able to share that with the committee and hear the positives in terms of gratitude for how well managed our finances are right now. I don't know if Sandeep or Brian wanna chime in since you were there.
No, I would just say it was a really good meeting. Bob did a great job answering the questions, and yeah, just good to have the good news,
Yeah.
especially because that hasn't been the case with some of the other audits.
Yep. Echo what was mentioned. Bob was awesome. He didn't really jump up and ask for more help. So I think maybe Bob, you can just send in the message that you've got it all under control. So that's great.
So we wanted to be sure we acknowledge that here, since the order of events was a little different than it sometimes can be. Update on METCO enrollment, we're working with METCO Inc. to work on enrollments for the fall, not just at kindergarten, so we're opening up some grade levels at the elementary school depending on enrollment sizes, and are going to have entry points at grades 6 and 9. This is a regional meeting, so 9 is your important one. We haven't done that in a while, so we're excited to hopefully build some capacity there. Bob and I were out at the bus yard the other day with all those involved, and we're in pretty active sessions on both the grant implementation to add to the electric charging infrastructure, and with Highland Bus about securing 5 buses and the infrastructure to go with that. So there's a lot to do there. And we're excited that we've got I think a logical opportunity to help manage the financial and the logistical part of that. So as we get a little tighter, we'll definitely bring that to the committee, because there is a financial plan that goes with that. And there is grant money attached through Highland, so we're continuing to move that forward, so.
Great.
Yeah, I'm really thrilled we finally found a path to manage the costs involved with further electrification. The administrative team met with Dr. Darnisa Amante Jackson yesterday. We're planning for another session with her and the teacher leaders. She is helping us envision this really beautiful bridge between equity, achievement gaps, universal design, SEL. To me, that's one of the most important things. It's all one thing in terms of vision of a graduate she's now incorporating in with us. So there's this really big collective visioning, while we then look at how to plan the increments to make progress towards the vision. And she's actually supporting the principals on working some school improvement goals. So it's feeling like there's a lot of cohesion there and a lot of synergy, which is the better way to do this than all these separate initiatives when they're all about serving children. We did have a Holocaust survivor at the middle school last week, and I bring it up here because we were able to have a few of the JSU student members who were interested in going over for the daytime presentation with the 8th grade. So we had the advisor, Kelly Kirstein, and a few of the high school students go over and engage while the kids were getting their presentation and not have to attend the evening one. And it started to build a great energy between the middle school and the JSU, which led to how do we make sure the incoming 9th graders are aware of all the club opportunities. And so we're revisiting that a little, and much of what's driving that is all the affinity group opportunities that we want to make sure they're really aware of. And maybe the big fair at the beginning of the year isn't quite the best way to help the 9th graders find those groups. So we're in active discussions on that. And my last update is we are bringing in a substance abuse program for the juniors and seniors at the high school on May 5th, and then an evening component for parents with the same presenter and the police to talk on social host laws. We feel it's really important to be in front of the kids as we get to prom and graduation season, reminders of the risks involved with alcohol and drugs, especially when driving, and just try to really send a cohesive message. The police chief and I are also going to do the combined letter like we did last spring. So we're trying to come at it as many ways as we can to really just have people thinking about what they're doing. So that's on the books, and I'm really grateful Shelley and a couple of the high school, Allison Nowicki and Dan Simone were able to go to the behavioral health collective that we all are part of, led by Melanie Deneen, the health director, and they've contributed $5,000 in opioid fund money from Concord to help subsidize this.
For the speaker.
Yeah.
Is the same speaker at both
Same
events?
speaker for both.
Same for kids and adults,
Yes.
okay. And that happened many years ago.
Yep,
that you would do programming
Yep.
during the day and at night, so I think that's super
Yeah,
helpful.
so trying to really bring awareness to the concerns.
Question, is there anything in regard to the opening new grades for enrollment for MEC? Is there anything that the committee can do to help in that?
I don't think so. It's as simple as saying, please send us the kids. So I think we're in good shape.
Aisha, Michelle can play a role in that as well?
It's an enrollment process, just like any other student enrollment, so there's not a per se school committee role, but welcoming families could certainly be a piece.
Cause you'd still have to enroll at Metco Inc. in Boston.
You have to do the well, they've already done that
They've
part,
done
so
that
MECO
part,
has
so,
the names, and then they've gotta enroll here, and we onboard them, and we can obviously wanna be sure they feel welcome.
Okay, I only have a couple updates. Yesterday was a town election, so congratulations to Drew Magliosi. I know I'm saying his name wrong, because I tend to say everybody's name wrong. He will be joining the school committee for Concord and for the region. And Dean Banfield won in the select board race, Stefan Bader for the housing authority, and Carlin Reed's our new moderator. So all of those people will be sworn in after this year's town meeting. And then last night, Lynette and Brian were nominated by Carlisle at their caucus. They're both running unopposed for school committee in Carlisle. Your election is when?
June 2nd.
June 2nd. So after your election, then we'll see the regional committee, right?
We already have a Carlisle meeting on June 3rd at 1 p.m. So we're all set for 6 o'clock
Yes,
at
because
the
Brian
region.
is the Carlisle chair, so thank you for scheduling that. So we double duty that day. We had a PTG president's meeting this past month. We have talked about all sorts of things, and just more communication with the PTG presidents. It's a good opportunity for them to talk to each other about things like paper directories, online directories, fundraising, cell phones, lots of different things come up during those meetings. That's all I had, and then Aisha, do you have an update for us?
Yes, just a couple of things. Lori, thank you for mentioning the enrollment. I've gotten several questions and support about upping the numbers for MECO and Concord. So thank you for that. And the support was from residents of Concord and Carlisle, as well as other MECO parents. So it is something that's important that a lot of people are talking about. So yeah, just so everyone is aware, we only have 31 students at the high school for MECO, down from 40 from last year. So, you know, for a sense of belonging, and, you know, it is important for us to, you know, try to get those numbers up. And I understand the transition sometimes can be hard coming from Boston to Concord at other grades, but I mean, I did it in 9th grade and the transition was smooth and it was good. The other updates I have are, yesterday Melinthi had a meeting with some of the parents and students for a vision of a graduate, so she can get some input from parents and students, which went very well. The MECO Board of Directors is putting together a prom for juniors and seniors, so hopefully we can have some Concord juniors and seniors attend that in May. And I think that's it for the high school.
Great.
Yep, that's it.
And I don't see Michelle with us. Okay, so we're good. All right, and with that, we'll move on to our CCHS student updates. I'll invite our student reps up with us. We have Maddie and Evelyn and Mark.
Hey, Tracy.
Oh, yes, Andrew, sorry, I didn't ask you.
No worries. I just want to say Sandeep and I had our first coffee listed, but and it was not very well attended. I think 1 or 2 people, and then Sandeep and I had a lot of airtime to catch up. So just a push for the next one, which I believe is in person. So if anyone's listening and wants to go, encourage you to go.
It's on Friday.
Question.
Friday, yep.
Question.
Yep.
Were there any particular topics that were brought up?
On the virtual coffee?
Yes.
Nope. It was essentially. Oh, is it just you guys? Well, we'll hang up then. I don't think there was enough of an audience for the people joining to stick it up.
Okay.
Any thoughts on how we can increase that next go around?
I'm open to ideas.
Add donuts with the coffee?
I know, well, the virtual coffee is hard to.
Virtual donuts?
We did
Virtual
publicize, yeah, we did publicize it, through all the PTGs, have all the dates of it. They put it on their social media, it's in their newsletters, it was in Lori's newsletter. It's been on your social media. So, and I think that your newsletter is also linked to Concord Current, so I'm not sure if we have any other avenues.
Like people who've subscribed.
School
to the
committee
school
subscriber list, it went to the Mosquito, it went to the Bridge. So more to come. All right, so with that, we'll go to our students.
Have we shared this? Yeah, we can't usually share it with the Zoom.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
yeah.
Sorry, I'm doing
Screen sharing.
other things, too many things at once.
And we did ask, are you guys able to stay for our cell phone discussion?
What time would it probably be?
I'm gonna predict, I think we have a little bit of public comment, so it might be It might be a little bit. Might be like another hour. We have your feedback. We do have your feedback. But maybe you could just chat, with us on some of your thoughts on when we're considering writing a cell phone policy. So maybe while you're here, we'll do it then with you guys. Okay.
Okay, hi everyone. To start it off with our student update for today, MICA was held last weekend. So it's basically this statewide competition for performing arts. So our symphonic band, orchestra, wind ensemble, and chorus all went and they all won gold. Which I think they're used to. I think they win gold every year, but we have a really strong performing arts team at the school, so that's really great for everyone.
Could we zoom in a little?
I'm trying.
Do you want here?
I don't know why it won't let me go to presentation mode.
Or maybe slideshow, that button right there.
The problem is it'll do it on my laptop, but it won't do it on the screen, usually.
Maybe if you
Are you
command
logged
the plus button.
Wait, why don't you just
there, I can write
So it did it beautifully here, but it isn't. It's a little strange.
Okay.
I'll keep trying to make it bigger.
Okay, so our METCO student ambassadors, which is basically 2 students who were elected by each grade. It was kind of like an anonymous form you had to submit, but it's me and Exari for the juniors. I can read them off because there's only a few of them. Zan and Laz as seniors, London and Jayla, or that's Jayla
Jayla's a
and
sophomore, right?
yeah, Jayla's a sophomore and Layla for sophomores, and then London and Julian are freshman ambassadors. And basically we went to a youth leadership conference at MIT. I think it was really great for networking. I think that was like the best thing that we got out of the event. And we also went to like a bunch of workshops and talked to like colleges and like learned a bunch of stuff and had like a finance module. And then what was really eye-opening to I think a lot of people is we like looked at like a paycheck and then we had to like divide like out the tax and then like your utilities, your phone bill, so then we were like down to nothing. And we didn't even like we were in the red by the end. So that was funny. But it was a good conference. It was during school hours and it was at MIT. And I saw like other MECO students of course, because it was like the other MECO programs, and I saw someone that was like my best friend in 3rd grade. So that was super funny. And then we like reconnected. So yeah. Oh, I can also talk about yes.
How many schools were involved? Do you know?
I didn't have like a sheet, but I'd say somewhere near 12. And then they rolled out like this MECO ambassadors program. I don't know that it works the same at every other school, but how ours works is 2 representatives from each grade, which I think it's somewhere probably the same for the other schools. Yes, of course. BSU and MVP had their bake sale. MVP bake sale was today and after school, and BSU bake sale was about 2 weeks ago. Our photos on the right there in the middle. I heard it went well. I had the flu actually. I helped plan, of course, but I ended up having the flu that day and I was out sick. But we made our money. It was pretty good. And the last thing was the Gov Hypnotist event. That was great. It's always great. It's funny. The like hypnotist made the kids go to like sleep. I requested for Gov to like have him do like the thing where he makes them like make chicken noises, but I don't know if he did that this year. But that was good. It was well attended.
Yeah. Another thing in other news, the Student Senate hosted the blood drive, which we've done every year for a few years now, and that's always been really successful. It's so great to have that, the truck just parks there the whole day and you get to sign up for a time slot. I unfortunately was sick and so I couldn't donate blood, but I was planning to. Maddie and I wanted to together. But yeah, all the slots filled up really quickly and that was really great. So definitely a good thing to rally the community and support a really great cause. So
DECA had their state conference, which is a big competition. I think we all heard about it when they came a few weeks ago, but it was I think 2 weekends ago, and 13 students participated, and I think they did really well. It's only their 2nd year, or maybe their first time actually competing. So I think they did really well considering that. And yeah, there's a photo of them on the top right. It was at Bentley. And we went to
Yes. Another St. Patrick's Day luncheon this year. It was really great. It's hosted by student government, doesn't say here. It's hosted by student government and we had a bunch of volunteers, I think somewhere near 40 volunteers. And these events are always great. We had the Thanksgiving one a couple months ago, and it's usually the same people. And funny enough, we have to like watch out because some of them take the decorations because they love them so much. So it's always funny, like there's like a list of things that we need to like remember, and that's like at the top of the list. That decorations are always
The Interact Club, which is one of the clubs at CCHS, had their Meals of Hope event, which I think it was with AB and Minuteman and then CC and students together packaged over 10,000 meals, which is really incredible. And it's great that we have a lot of clubs at CC which like do that kind of community service, but Interact Club is always so involved and they're constantly running events like these, so really great to hear. And also I think it was 2 weekends ago I participated in, along with a lot of other NHS students and non-NHS students who are at CC, we participated in the Phonathon for the scholarship fund of Concord-Carlisle. That was like in 3-hour shifts. There were 3 of them. I think 2 on Sunday and then 1 on Monday. And you have to just pick up your phone and go through all of these sheets. And it takes a lot of time and it's just kind of fun. Everyone's eating snacks, but it's really great. I know my shift we raised like $18,000. I know the goal is about like $50,000, which is really incredible. And so it's kind of cool. And you end up, meeting all these Concord residents. And, I like called my neighbor by accident and I was like, oh my gosh, this is you. And it's really fun to do all that. So yeah.
It's a little more pressure for people to give when they know you, so.
Yeah. And then I practiced on my dad and he was like, at first like, who is this? And then I was like, I'm cold calling people. So I think it's also great for people wanting to go into business or kind of stretch themselves to, I think it's a new thing for high schoolers to have to like put themselves in that uncomfortable position and ask for money and get out there and do it. So of course for a good cause.
Okay, and lastly, for the past events, the IQH Fest was held, I think 2 weeks ago by the Reverb Club, which is a music club at CCHS. The event has really grown in the past years. This year there were 35 CCHS student groups actually, so they all come. It's gotten pretty competitive. You have to audition and go through these rounds. So yeah, because they need to limit it to one night. And it was a really great event. I saw a bunch of photos. I think there was definitely photographers there. It was really crazy. And it was a great time and everyone did really great. Okay, and then current Q4 has just started this past Monday, I believe. Yeah, which is kind of surreal as seniors. Like it's our last quarter. We don't have finals, which is nice. But APs are creeping up, so keep you updated. And then also the Q4 internships for seniors are taking place. I don't know a ton about them personally, but I know a few people who are going to be doing them. And I think you have a mentor who's someone who's interested in who's doing the field that you're interested in, and you'll pretty much be mentored by them and go through a series of maybe projects or research or something that's applicable to what you want to do in the future. So
I know a girl she's going to be an assistant teacher at in a classroom at Willard, I think, which is so cool. I know there's a ton of others ones, but people are excited about this.
And then also spring sports are still running. I think the first competitions for a few sports are taking place or have taken place already. So I'm not in a spring sport, but I'm hoping to go and cheer on some teams like Unified Track. I definitely want to go see that. So, and then another current is March Madness hosted by the librarians. Basically, it's this March Madness between books, and students can vote on which book. And I think we're down to the finals, and it's between this Hunger Games book and a Maze Runner book. So I think students really like the dystopian fiction right now. But that's really been fun to follow.
Student Advisory Council elections are taking place now. I think that closes tomorrow, so I have to submit my form. But it's basically where
You're running?
I'm the advisor.
I'm not surprised.
Student state right now, but for next year I actually didn't know we had to run every year, so now I'm scrambling to write something. But basically they anybody can run, and they elect 2 students, the entire school votes, and then they elect 2 students to go on to the meetings with Desi, and basically I invited all of you guys, but
It's great.
I was in the bullying and harassment work group, so we kind of look at data and other things to see how we can improve all of our schools in the greater Boston area.
And then Girl Up Club at CCHS is hosting on Friday morning during our Flex Walk, a mental fitness event or mental fitness in sports. And so it's gonna be a keynote speaker talking about the importance of having a really specialized mindset and I think positive thinking and just supporting mental health, which is really great because a lot of CC students are athletes and partake in at least one season or one sports season. And regardless, I think it's really a great message to get out, and so I know that there's been a lot of excitement for that. And also Flexbox in general have been really great for students to not only, I know this is something Maddie and I we were here 1 year before the schedule changed, and I just, from our experience, I know Flexbox have been great, and one of the benefits of them is having these speakers come in. It feels almost once a month there's some kind of keynote speaker or someone coming in, either through a club or organized by the school, by the administrators, and it's just great. This is just a great example here. So yes, and then government dodgeball.
You can see in the far left, that was actually an hour ago, the dodgeball tournament that Casca posted. Those are our winners.
Fresh news. Yeah, my brother participated in that. I think he's a sophomore, and I think he had a team of however many kids it needs to be, but then all of a sudden half of them dropped out in the last 24 hours. But I know that got pushed a whole week or 2 weeks, so there's a lot of excitement about that.
It was a big deal. A bunch of kids in my class were dressed up and they were wearing polo shirts and baseball caps and things, and people were saying he's afraid for Fools, what's going on? And then they were they're a team on dodgeball, of course.
Yes.
It's our big
Costumes
event,
related. So it looks like the seniors won. Did the seniors win?
Yes. Okay, and then do you have any? We're not in Q5. Our next talking point was Q5.
I am. I'm excited for it this year. I was actually in Hawaii last year for Q5. I did that trip, so this is my first time actually experiencing Q5. I feel but I selected my options. I did the Common boot camp, so I'm gonna be ready.
Good idea.
It's a good idea, and hopefully I'm gonna have everything done by the end of the summer, which is my hope. So I'm not scrambling in the fall, but that's my exciting.
Oh, you could choose to do things kayaking, but Mark chose the Common App, so good for you.
Yeah.
But it's good to get that really done.
There's also lifeguarding.
There's
which is
lifeguarding,
amazing.
right.
Getting your lifeguard.
I think you could do driver's ed now too. During
Yeah,
yes. So if you're younger, you can fit that in, or just something that you want to do.
Last year Evelyn and I we did a baking competition.
We did cake baking. And
It was super fun.
Yours got really competitive.
Yeah, very competitive. Yeah, it was fun. We made alligator cupcakes, donuts. It was so fun. We got to go into the cafeteria and the kitchen in the back. It was so cool.
The last thing we have down is just an upcoming event. I think it's this Saturday, which is a K-pop dance club performance, which is cool because CCH Senate approved that club, I think last year, and now they're doing something and they're collaborating with a bunch of other schools. I think it's at least 3 other schools to put on this performance, which is really exciting. And as a dancer myself, I'm a ballet dancer. I just always love to hear about the dance performances. So yeah, I think that's all we had though for our update this week. Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, I have a couple questions for you before you leave us. Just logistically. So we have a meeting in May and a meeting in June. You guys will graduate. Do you know when elections are for people to take your spots? Not that we want you to leave, but you're gonna go to college.
I think in May. I'm
May?
pretty sure in May.
Because it's along with the student senate elections, which happen.
Yeah, they happen simultaneously, student senate and school committee.
Okay. Okay, so you'll just let us know, Mark, I'm assuming you're continuing for your senior year? And so just let us know who's gonna replace these 2 lovely ladies. And then do you know who your graduation speaker is yet, or no?
We are voting on.
I think it's. Oh, I don't know if this is
Oh, then don't say, don't
we're
make it
really
public,
close.
you can't say it.
Oh, I didn't know.
I don't know if that's public. You know?
Yeah, I'm definitely.
I don't wanna.
Okay, then don't say it, don't say
I'm not
it,
gonna
don't say it. We'll have to be surprised. All right, great. Well, thank you for your update. It's always incredibly informative. We love to hear what's happening at the high school with our students, so we really appreciate that. We did ask you for a little bit of feedback, which you provided in writing, which I totally appreciate. The school committee has not seen it yet, so I would just wanna know if you could maybe speak to it. So what I did is I incorporated it into all the feedback I've got from school committee members, so if you can just maybe talk to your thoughts on developing a cell phone policy at CCHS.
So we're gonna pull up the doc just to make sure we hit our talking points, because yesterday Maddie and I were at Student Senate, which is a great time to talk to students of all age groups, and so some of these are our personal thoughts and some of them are more just general reflections of the student body. But from our experiences, we'd say the majority of students are not on their phone most of the time. And so also one of the things, I was talking to my mom about this because she's very much she's so curious about how this phone thing works, because obviously this is such a new thing that we all have to navigate. And it seems that the efficacy of the phone caddy policy really depends on the teacher themselves and how they enforce it in the classrooms. I would say there's like two main ways that teachers can really make sure that the phones like actually are in the caddies at all times. And that would be like mainly taking attendance based on the caddy. And then secondly, sometimes teachers will just conduct like regular checks, like every single morning. They'll come by and they'll just, if the phone caddies, especially like by the door as they welcome the students in, they just make sure they put the phone in the phone caddy. If they don't, they just encourage a student. Or sometimes right before class starts, they'll walk over and they'll like check and they'll scan. And then if you don't put your phone in, they'll call your name out, and it's a little bit of like a walk of shame as you put your phone back. So everyone tries to avoid that, even if you just forget. But when that happens consistently, like even I have a class where like the teacher doesn't even remind people, but because we have such a habit and we're kind of fearful of what happens if we don't put our phone in the caddy, then that seems to work. So it really, and I was talking to my teacher this morning, and she was saying that that's something she realized is like earlier semester 1, she was really putting emphasis on like scanning the phone caddy, making sure everyone's in there, and then calling them out if they're not. And then the second semester, and that was really successful, but then second semester she wasn't doing anything. She was just kind of every so often, maybe occasionally like saying something to a student like a few times a week. And she's noticed that, you know, no students are really, or like fewer students are putting their phones in the phone caddy. But I would say even if they don't have their phone in the phone caddy, most students, at least in our classes, like they're not taking them out. So if you guys want to talk more, I know that's just kind of talking about like how well the phone caddy's been implemented, but I think there's definitely been a lot of pushback about a bell-to-bell, because I know that's something like a lot of other schools are considering. It just seems like there's like a sense of autonomy that comes, I think, with having a phone, and a safety concern that is making students wary of a bell-to-bell policy. I think there's a lot of discussion that comes around with it, and people maybe don't understand, like, you know, if we take I'm sure that like safety concerns are taken into account if we do take on that policy. But if you guys want to talk more about your thoughts.
Yeah, Mark, you go. I think, yeah, basically we were talking to the student senators yesterday at our meeting, and I think people kind of respect the phone policy that we have in place. They understand the need for the caddies, and I think most people in general will put their phone away in every class, and they understand that it's just, you know, for focusing. But and I don't have many classes, I'd say, where people like, there's no one who ever like really refuses to put their phone away. I've never seen that. And another part of it is kind of that it's like a responsibility for yourself to be focused during class, be paying attention and doing your work, and it also helps you in the long run to like process what's going on in class, and then maybe have less work later at night if you get everything done during the school day. So I think people recognize that putting your phone away and focusing on your work is good for you. So I think that's a part of the reason why people, my students respect the phone caddy thing right now. But I think the bell-to-bell might feel like a step further that doesn't seem necessary, and I think they're worried. For many reasons, like the safety reasons.
And then, I mean, when we brought up like the possibility of a bell-to-bell in the student senate yesterday, there are two main like concerns that emerged, and I think they were reflected in the draft survey that you sent to us. But one of them being that frequently upperclassmen and also some underclassmen go off campus during free blocks. And even if like sometimes they're scheduled free blocks or lunch blocks, but also sometimes the class is canceled. And so even then it's really important that students have their phones, not only to like, I don't know, order ahead for Starbucks, but also like to get directions or to like call someone if your car, like something like that, just to have that for emergencies. And even to like sign out from, we do the sign out at the door. And so that's a concern. And the second thing being like if students are feeling ill or have a question about like last minute communication for parents with rides or like friends, it's really important that, you know, students have their phones, at least during like passing periods and during lunch. Like I found a few times, like I'm not trying to skip class, but if I'm like feeling really sick and I'm needing to ask my mom if I should go home, like I'll text her then. And I think there's a concern that if students don't have their phones during the day, that will get really tricky, and, you know, might have to go down to the office yourself to call, which just takes out like an extra 10 minutes from your day when you could just send a quick text. Do you have any thoughts on this?
I more so had a question. I was more so thinking, do we think this is like something that's not working? Like, is that what we've seen past like the phone policy now?
I don't think it's that we see it's not working. I think the state is considering, they're putting a bill forward, so it's right now it's sitting in the House, and so a lot of schools are considering it, so we're just as a school committee taking it up.
Okay.
And also there isn't one.
There isn't one, so
we're
we have
trying
a
to solve for the problem that there is not currently one. There is a handbook policy, but there is not a district school policy, and typically those two, if there is one, there is the other.
Yes, makes sense.
So we have a K-8 cell phone policy. We do not have one for the high school currently, and it's a school committee policy. A lot of people talk about policy as like, oh, it's a school policy. This is an actual school committee policy, so that's what we're looking at. So we thought it was important to get feedback from the students to see how it's working. Like, what do you see during the day? You know, what are your thoughts on it? Because I think a lot of times decisions are made without asking everybody, you know, for feedback. So we are gonna be asking parents, we're asking students, we're asking teachers, administrators, because 7 of us hold policy. And so we need more feedback than that.
Yeah, I think in my experience, it's like dependent definitely on the class. Like I had a Russian history test that took like 2 hours. It's a huge test, but she was very like phones, catty, and she really honestly didn't have to remind people that everybody like came and put their phone. But usually in that class, like people just keep their phones in their bags and nobody goes on them. So I think it's dependent on like the class or like if we're taking a test that day. But I don't really usually see an issue with phones. And definitely I've never seen any students take their phone out of the caddy during class.
No, yeah.
So I guess my question back to you would be, do you feel as though what's happening at the high school is working or not working?
I think it's working to the degree that it needs to be working. I think it's impossible to kind of prevent all cell phone distractions, and if you do, there's probably gonna be a lot of student upset, like just the taking away the phones, I think is gonna, you know, upset a lot of students. I think regardless, I mean, we experience this with like Zoom chats and all this stuff, like students are gonna find a way to like connect with each other or like talk to people or like play games on like, you know, there's always like the unblock games things on the laptop. So there's always like a way that students will find like a way around the policies, which I'm obviously not supporting or anything, but I just think that like I think it's like the best it can really be. And I'm honestly impressed by like the discipline that students have. And some of my classes, like it's like every single day people are just like running straight to the phone caddy, and it's like they just come back to their seats and it's just become a habit. And I think if we do feel like we wanna like, you know, if the results from the survey are like, you know, we need to, you know, it's too distracting, we need to up it. I think just making sure that student or teachers are really enforcing that. It's honestly enough. Like I think I'm impressed by student discipline, so. Yeah.
Does anybody else on the committee have any questions before our students go?
One question, did we see the survey they went out to the students?
Nothing's gone out.
Okay.
We're still in draft form from March 4th.
And we also, I think we left some comments on a few of the questions that were on the survey, like just adding in like another option or something like that.
The survey that you generated?
No survey. So I asked Dr. Hunter to ask our reps for their feedback in preparation for our meeting tonight.
On the draft survey that
On the
you're
draft
looking
survey
at tonight.
that we already looked at, sorry.
So they've seen
I
what
should have
you've seen
clarified.
and they're giving feedback on.
And you're sharing their feedback.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, so later, so I got it, last night. Is it last night you sent it?
Yes,
Yeah,
it was
so
last.
so I've been
After
taking
your
everyone's feedback, and so when we get to that part of the discussion, I've tried to incorporate everyone's feedback into a version 2 of the survey. So we'll see where that takes us.
Yes.
Alright, Sandeep or Andrew, any questions, comments for our students? No? No, maybe?
Not right now.
No, that was helpful.
Alright, super helpful. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good luck this spring. We'll see you after vacation. We'll see you in May. And then you can let us know. So weird. You can let us know if you're coming in June or not, no pressure.
I think we should.
What's the June date?
It is the first Wednesday in June. It's the Wednesday after graduation. I can't remember the date. Do you have a calendar?
Probably be.
Third.
June 3rd. Oh, June 3rd.
I'll try to make it. We'll probably be around.
Alright, if you're around, we would love to have you.
And we'll keep you updated on the elections. for
Yeah,
the
definitely do.
two. Yeah.
Alright, thank you so
Thank you
much.
all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Alright. And we are moving on to our public comment section. I know that we have some sheets from in the room. I'm just gonna read our public comment period. It'll be a period of 20 minutes. As a reminder, this is a meeting in the public, not with the public, so the school committee will not be responding to any comments. If you're in the room, you'd like to speak, you submit a blue sheet, which I have. If you're on Zoom, you can use the raise hand feature. And when you're called to speak, please state your name and address before you speak, and we'll go every other starting in the room, and you will have a limit of 3 minutes.
Do you want me to time?
Yes, Brian will be timing. He's an excellent timekeeper, I'll just say. And you'll be hearing the bells, should you need to. I don't know. Okay, so Adrian Principe, we have you first. You can join us at the table. We have microphones in the room, so you can just speak.
Should I sit up here?
Yes, that'd be great.
Okay, great. I'm Adrian Principe, 78 Neshoba Road. I'm a Concord parent and the founder of Turning Life On. Over the years, many people, including myself, have spoken up about the harms of technology on children and teens. In February, Congress held a hearing during which one testified that this is the first generation to underperform their parents. In March, a New Mexico jury found Meta liable for knowingly failing to protect children from sexual exploitation and misleading the public on platform safety, ordering them to pay $370 million. One day later, an LA jury found Meta and YouTube negligent and liable for over $6 million in damages after determining they designed addictive platforms that harmed a user's mental health. In Concord, our youth risk behavior results reveal a terrible picture of preteen and teen mental health. I'm here to paint a picture, realistic picture of what our children experience each day as they enter school. Before you enter the building, do you have your video camera in case you want to capture and post an embarrassing picture or video of a classmate? Your TikTok app, all your Instagram influencers, your music, Netflix, YouTube, Discord, pics that are circling the school. Is your geolocation on, and are your 1,000 Snapchat strangers in your pocket? Don't forget your online gaming. Fortnite, Minecraft, and Roblox, a game you can use to beat pregnant women and minorities, and make sure you still have access to millions of pornography videos. To enhance your experience, we're giving you a one-to-one device to use during the day. With this machine, you can watch entertaining videos for the duration of class, alienate your teachers and peers, discover multiple ways around the firewall, cheat your way through high school, and learn math, science, and reading in a gamified way. Let Google create a digital profile for you and allow the YouTube algorithm to lead you down a destructive path full of inappropriate content. We also track how often and for how long you visit the bathroom, nurse, and guidance counselor. Lastly, when you use these school-approved apps, you consent for EdTech to steal and sell your information. Because in their privacy agreements, most say, when you access or use our service, you are deemed to consent to the collection, use, retention, transfer, manipulation, storage, transmission, and/or disclosure of your information. Most importantly, though, kids, you must sign a digital compliance agreement not to misuse the drug-like devices that are designed to be addictive. As a mother of 4 and the founder of a nonprofit dedicated to digital wellness, it's alarming that I have to prove with scientific research why this invasive technology is detrimental to our kids when no one can produce independent research to support why it was introduced in the first place. The apps kids are accessing on their phones during the school day and one-to-one devices are at odds with our school and community values. Why do we allow schools to become Silicon Valley profit centers? Why did we replace human interaction with machines? Why did we force our children to stare at screens for hours a day when we had zero research on what it would do to their eyes, their brains, and their humanity? You have an opportunity. Protect the current generation and all those who follow by passing and enforcing a meaningful bell-to-bell, inaccessible smartphone policy and honor parental rights. Thank you.
Thank you. Looking online, I don't see any hands. And up next, Christine Spin.
Apologies, I just kind of put this together. It might sound a bit disjointed, but Christine Spin, 49 Partridge Lane, we're new to Concord. Can I begin? I would also like to comment on the subject of education technology used in our district schools. And trust me, I get the irony of me reading this comment off of a smartphone right now when what I am speaking to is the reduction of this tech in our lives. I work hard as a parent to set rules and expectations for technology in our home and with my family, and I'm obviously not the most popular person in the house, but I have to be the responsible adult because I want my children to experience the world and to learn more deeply. I'm thankful that my generation falls into this moment of time where we have learned the consequences. We have the research and the studies that are going on right now to say that this is not benefiting our children. I don't have to backpedal any of my decisions because my ages fall in that sweet spot between when everyone is expected to have smart devices. My children do not have phones, but they do have iPads, and I keep these locked down and with regard to content, and I review what they see and do on them. It was my choice to give them these devices, and so it's my job to monitor them for their protection. The schools, on the other hand, made a choice from my family, without my consent, to give all of these devices to my children, without any proper barriers in place. These kids, throughout the whole middle school, I have 3 in the middle school, now have access to the internet where I can't see what they're doing. And the school, as far as we know, they're just discovering as they're what they're monitoring. So the school has put things into my home that do not align with my family values. We moved here from across the country specifically to enjoy the benefits of a Massachusetts education. And instead I arrived to discover that the system is charging wildly ahead in the same way as the rest of the country. With zero regard for research-based evidence and information, they've thrown social media and ed applications where the vetting is questionable, and even video games into my kids' hands. My kids are constantly behind a computer all day long, and then at home. And I'll fast forward because I don't want to miss this part, but I have no way of monitoring or keeping them from doing it. And this isn't the time to experiment. And don't get me wrong, I love technology. Technology has given us wings to do more, to know more, to be more productive. But I already had a deeply ingrained education to know how to manipulate and analyze and learn. Our students are not being given the opportunity to fully see, hear, share, and touch. I was a former educator in adult literacy, and I understand how different students learn. Some are oral learners, some are visual learners, some are tactile. I worked with adults and showed them this is how they learned their letters, was drawing letters in the sand. Digital education takes nearly all of these sensory experiences away from our students. And we're doing this to kindergartners and first graders and up to the 8th graders. In high school I understand, but with the computers, because they will be doing this out in the real world. But right now, I did a project at school. We started a new service club, and the kids had to draw on paper, and what I saw looked like what you would see 3rd graders do. And these were 6th and 7th graders, with their lack of creativity and lack of handwriting, and it was just disappointing. Sorry, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, online, I don't see any hands. And Emily Lines.
I'm sorry. Hello, thank you for letting me speak. I'm Emily Lyons. I live at 63 Bruce Road in Concord, and I first want to applaud the decision to open Metco enrollment up to multiple grades for next year. I think that is a wonderful step forward. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today to you all and for the thoughtful work that you're doing in surveying the community about the high school cell phone policy. I truly appreciate the effort to gather perspectives from students, families, and educators, and that kind of engagement with the community really matters. At the same time, I'd like to suggest that we also lean on the strong body of data that we already have available to us, both from our own 2024 Youth Risk Behavior Survey and from broader research to help guide our next steps. For example, we know that CCHS students report a median of 2.7 hours per day on devices for non-school use, and over half turn to social media to cope with stress. Research consistently shows, however, that higher daily smartphone and social media use is associated with increased risks of anxiety, depression, suicidality, and reduced attention. We're also seeing rising feelings of loneliness and lack of belonging in our schools, especially in certain grades, which we know are closely tied to student well-being. So while the survey will give us valuable insight into perceptions and experiences, the evidence already gives us clear direction. Adopting a bell-to-bell, off and away policy during the school day supports both learning and mental health. Where the survey results become most important is in how we implement that direction. The role of this data should not be to decide whether to act. We already have enough evidence to justify that, but to determine how to do it well. The results should guide how we support families, how we train staff for consistent and fair implementation, something that our students have already identified we need more work around, and clearly something that needs help also at the middle school. And also how we clearly communicate the purpose and the benefits of this change to students, families, and educators. This is a moment for strong leadership. By using the survey to inform a strong rollout, education, resources, clear expectations, you can bring the community along. You can set a tone of working in partnership together. Other districts have made these changes successfully. It's not toothpaste, and we can do it too. With a clear plan and shared commitment, we can create a school environment that better supports focus, connection, and student well-being. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments online? Okay, I don't see any more in the room, so with that, I will close up public comment. And move on to our consent agenda. Does anyone have anything they need to remove from the consent agenda?
Pull item D off the consent agenda for review. For correctness, there are comments from the meeting that are not included, and I can send you the edits.
Okay, so we're gonna pull that off for the next meeting, just because we don't have the edits tonight.
I can send you the edits.
Do you, okay.
Sorry, Tracy, what was pulled?
February 4th,
Item D.
item D,
Okay.
February 4th minutes.
Thank you.
Do you have them that you could share on screen or no?
No, I don't have them share on screen, but I can send them to you so we can review them prior to the next meeting.
Okay, so we'll do it at the next regional meeting because they are joint minutes. All right, anything else? Any questions? Are we good?
No, but can I just say that I was looking through the 5 different travel trips.
Yeah.
And it makes sense that these are on the consent agenda, but I think it is like a shame that we don't talk about it more because it is such a great experience for a lot of kids to have access to some of these exchange programs and just experiential learning, so.
Yep, and just.
The amount of thought from the teachers that went into planning it, so anyway, just a shout out to say thank you.
Yep, and Brian and I talked about this at agenda planning and we opted to put it on the consent agenda
Yeah,
because it's
makes
just a
sense.
yearly
Yep.
approval of trips, but for people that are out there watching and listening, we have a bunch of trips at the high school that all of the information is linked to the agenda, so you should be able to see that.
One point I'd make on that, is a question if I can on what kind of stipend support, because the
Yep.
trips go from a minimum of $600 to $6,500. And just to speak for a moment on, do we have information on stipend support for students?
For student scholarship, yeah, so there's a Sharon Young scholarship at the high school, and so students can apply to that. Some of the trips have some scholarship built into it, so.
It is one of the reasons why you see a trip to the White Mountains. That's a very intentional shift for us to start offering closer trips. It's why you saw Montreal and Quebec lately, trying to have a broader array that do open accessibility up. We've talked about the equity and access issues for my entire tenure.
Yeah.
There isn't a solution. We're trying to come at it from every different way we can. Sharon Young has a nice flow to it where we're able to offer some funds. Every advisor knows that they're partly responsible for helping to fundraise or find ways to subsidize the trips, so we're just tackling it every way we can.
And I think,
And
you
then
know,
frankly, those closer trips are safer right now in the world, which is great.
yeah,
Well, I guess I'll grab that nugget you just threw, and we're gonna monitor all these and only send people where it's safe. We did not go to Ecuador this year for that reason. We did that trip after you had approved it, so we're always monitoring for safety for travel.
and just to get it out there to the community, maybe I'll do a write-up for your Friday bulletin about the Sharon Young Fund. Just ways that people can donate, because that is
Sure.
one thing that it's something that exists, but there's no real funding source to
Yeah,
that or
we have,
fundraising mechanism, so.
bits and drabs of ways that it gets some funding, but we don't have anybody dedicated to fundraise, so sure,
Yeah.
let's put it
Yeah,
in.
yeah,
Can you
okay.
send it tomorrow, cause
Yes, I will.
Erin's
I'll send
finishing
it.
that up tomorrow.
Yep.
There is one CPS item, so we have to vote region or both, right?
Yes, so if you are on the
Mhm.
region, please say for both, and if you are, well,
No, other way
if you're
around.
on Concord, the Concord
Right.
committee say for both. And if you're a regional member, say for region. Thank you, Brian, for pointing that out.
Yep,
Um,
I'll make a motion to approve the April 1st consent agenda.
Seconded.
with the
Oh,
exception-
but sorry, with the exception of item D, February 4th, joint minutes.
Second.
Okay, second, and roll call.
Or check I for both.
Kelleher, I for region.
Morano, aye for both.
Sure, yeah, for both.
Rankin, I for both.
Watterson, I for region.
Williams, I for both.
Okay. All right, and those February 4th minutes will come back at the next meeting, so.
Next regional meeting.
Next regional meeting, yes, yes. All right, so correspondence, we did not have much correspondence, and I believe I responded to all of it. So I'm just gonna move right through correspondence. We were copied on some emails, so it wasn't actually correspondence, but we were copied on it. And then we'll move into our discussion, and so item A would be the cost of living adjustment and hiring incentives for transportation. And we have a vote on this. I'll look to Brian to make the motion.
Move that the Concord and Concord-Carlisle Regional School Committees vote to authorize district administration to implement this bus driver recruitment incentive plan and agree to amend the bus drivers union contract to implement the increased pay rates as outlined in the assistant superintendent's memo.
Second.
Okay, and I'd just like to thank Bob and Lori and Michael for doing that negotiation with transportation. And
Do we
any,
need to
Discuss
discuss what the content of it is?
do we need to discuss the content?
probably
It's linked
It's
to
a
the,
public meeting.
yeah, okay,
Yeah, all
alright.
the details here.
Alright, so we'll do the discussion part right now, while we're in the middle. So Bob, do you wanna give us an update, high level?
Sure, and so for folks who saw the agenda online, the memo is posted to the agenda and you can link and see it. But essentially we're in a situation where we had several vacancies, we were short, getting close to the point where we weren't gonna be able to run routes and we felt like we needed to respond quickly to that. At the same time, the market has changed in transportation, notably two districts, Worcester and Framingham, brought their transportation in-house because of problems with outside vendors. Since COVID, there's been kind of a outflow, there's less drivers who left during COVID, not as many came back, so there's been a national shortage of drivers that's been out there, so people are competing more heavily for drivers. Concord used to be a place that when we had an opening and we'd post it, we'd have 10 applicants for a job. We were kind of the employer of choice. What we're finding more recently is that we might have a couple applications, and we're also not the highest paying district, or has some of the outside vendors also have surpassed us. So we wanted to be more competitive to attract drivers, particularly licensed drivers. The last batch of drivers we've hired have come where we've had to train them and get them certified. So those are all the kind of reasons that went into this to make us more attractive as an employer and give us some security in our routes. So financially, the impact of these are about $18,000 annually to Concord Public Schools and $12,000 annually to Concord-Carlisle Regional School District. So it's certainly manageable to both of our districts. At the same time, it is something that gotten additional feedback was very much welcomed by the drivers and helps them feel valued and will hopefully help us attract licensed drivers going forward. So the motion and the vote was to increase it by 2% immediately after this meeting in the next payroll run, and then that would kind of roll forward. So their contractual rates would be 2% higher than what we agreed to each of the next 2 years as well. In addition, there's a hiring incentive, and we're probably somewhat on the low end of what is out there in the public, but we felt we needed to have something. Some of the hiring incentives that other employers have actually gone as high as 10,000 with one company. But 5,000, 3,000 to 5,000 is fairly common. So we've proposed a hiring incentive for a licensed driver, not one we need to train, but a fully licensed driver of $2,500 to be paid half after 6 months of service and half after 12 months of service, so that we make sure they've worked here and they've earned it before we pay the incentive bonus. And then there's also a referral bonus of $1,000 that would be paid after 6 months. So if a person has a friend at some other school district and they referred them and they successfully complete 6 months, there'd be a referral bonus of $1,000. So that's the plan in a nutshell.
Great. Any other discussion? Okay, so now we will roll call.
Percheck, aye.
Morano, aye for both.
Kelleher, aye for region, sorry.
Carrie stepped out, so we can vote without her because we still have a quorum.
Sandeep's next.
Sandeep.
Sorry, Tracy, do you have to go after Lynette?
Oh, you didn't hear me. I said, I went before Lynette.
You did go
Sorry.
before me, it's alright.
I can't do alphabetical order today. So Morano, I for both. I'll do it again. Why not?
Bishardi, aye for both.
Watterson, aye for region.
Williams, I for both.
I think Carrie's walking back in. Would you like to vote on the transportation
Yes.
contract?
Rank and I.
For both?
For both.
Great. Okay, so.
Sorry. Thank you for all
Unanimous. All right. Thank you for that. Next up, we have the region, the E&D, which is the high school's version of free cash, has been certified. So again, Bob's got a memo in the packet and I will turn it to Bob.
So E&D stands for excess and deficiency. It's call it the equivalent of free cash for a town or municipality, though the rules are a little bit different. We can only carry a cumulative surplus of 5%. Free cash doesn't have that limitation. We've just certified recently. We submitted, I want to say, also on time on October 31st, and it took the Department of Revenue a very long time to certify, in part because they tend to prioritize tax rate approvals over regional school district E&D. So typically I'd like to bring this a little bit earlier, but what we were certified for was $1,772,572. That's 4.38% of our FY26 budget. The statutory cap is 5%, so we have a little bit of room below the cap. If we went above the cap, we'd have to return any surplus to the member towns above 5%. So we try not to go above 5%. I don't think we're gonna have, I mentioned this on the FAAC call this morning. We've had some one-time revenues, and we've also in the past had budgeted a little bit more conservatively on interest income when the rates had been below 1% for a while, and we didn't adjust quite as quickly as the rates went up. We're now budgeting, and our interest income is right in line with what we actually budgeted. So there's no surplus there. And our other one-time revenues, we don't really have any significant events like the closure of MNHG or the EDCO, where you put money up front and you sometimes get a refund later of the estimated closing costs. So I don't anticipate any large fluctuations going forward. I also want to add that we do, in our budget, factor in $300,000 of E&D to offset our operating budget, and we continue to do that. So at some point, without revenue surpluses, we would start to see the E&D come down a little bit, but we'll be fine this year. It's something we'll just have to pay attention to in future budget cycles.
Okay.
There's no vote required. I know it says vote on the agenda. You have no say in it. The town, the DLS approves it and certifies it.
But don't we,
Bob, can I ask you a question then?
we have to
Sorry.
vote the budget though.
It's vote the budget.
Yes,
This is next one.
so that's the motion that's in there in the budget. Sandeep, you had a question?
Yes, so you mentioned, the 5% cap. Is there a specific range we try and keep this to?
I mean, it's not an exact science. I mean, I would say 4.5 would be a nice number, close to the cap, but not so close that we have to worry about going over it.
You don't wanna be under 4. We've been under 4 and Moody's started to express some concerns because our stabilization funds were lower. We also were in a circuit breaker shortage at the time, but under 4, you probably wanna start thinking on where you're at.
Right, so it's this number is comparable to prior years and right about where we want it.
Yeah, I'd say, I mean, if it ticked up a little bit, that'd be fine, but I think we're in a healthy position.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this is just, we're running really tight budgets and we have an appropriate safety net. We're not holding on too much cash, and I don't know what you can ask for much more within 1% of the statutory cap. So I think, to me, this is like another great job managing the budget, Bob.
I agree. Anything else?
Nope.
No? Okay. Leave it to you, Brian.
We don't have to vote it.
We have to vote the budget.
That's the next
Oh,
agenda.
that's the next one. Oh, sorry. All right, so let's move on to the budget. I have the budget up already, that's
Oh,
why
you
I was
do?
thinking. I have it on my computer, sorry.
Let's see if I have the right one.
Tracy, you're very excitable tonight. You're
I
very
know, I think so.
interested in the budget.
I'm really interested in the budget. I'm trying to run a timely meeting.
Sorry, I have the wrong document.
It's linked to the agenda.
Yeah, no, I have it now. I've got two open windows.
The windows.
So a technical requirement of, it's a quirk of the way they approve E&D is technically we're not authorized to use it in our budget until it's been certified by the Department of Revenue. So in reality, we know it's gonna be certified, so we factor it into our budgets, but we need to revote it after they've certified E&D. I will note that we did, again, submit it on time at the deadline of October 31st, so this revote is through no fault of our own. But we need to revote the budget that you've already approved at the last meeting. And so this memo just outlines that you're gonna reapprove the budget that was approved on March 4th, 2026 in the same amount. And that's, you can just use the motion language there. So it's really just a technical requirement. There's no changes to the budget.
No changes to the budget.
For anybody listening on the outside who hasn't, might be listening for the first time.
I move to approve the Concord-Carlisle Regional School District proposed FY27 budget in the amount presented above and the resultant assessments allocated to the town of Concord and town of Carlisle per the regional agreement formula.
Second.
Okay, and we'll roll call, and this is just for region.
Percheck, aye.
Kelleher, aye.
Morano, aye.
Bishardi, aye.
Rankin, aye.
Watterson, aye.
Williams, aye.
Okay, I was in alphabetical order then. All right. Which brings us on to the cell phone survey. Okay, let me just, I'm gonna share my screen. Screen. All right, this was a little more complicated. The last time we saw the survey was on March 4th. I brought a draft of the survey. We didn't have an extensive period of time to discuss it at that meeting. I think we had like about 5 minutes. So what I did is I took anyone that had sent me written feedback. I used all of that written feedback, including the feedback we got from the students. I asked Lori to get feedback from the principals of the high school. So I had a little feedback on that. And I think that I've included everybody's feedback in here, but if I haven't, that's totally fine. So what I was thinking is we should go through this question by question. Because at some point we have to either get the survey out this year or it's just gonna dangle on. So I was like, I have to try and combine everybody's feedback. So I realized you're seeing it all right now, but I was still getting feedback this afternoon. So I feel like this is the best we can do, and it's, so no one has seen this yet. And this is what I came up with. So we're just gonna go right from the beginning. Actually, I'll start with, and I'm gonna just read this so people at home can hear it or those in the room can add it to. Oh, please add it, T. Can you edit it or no? It's not editable. It is for me.
I don't have the link though.
Okay, no, that's okay. I'm just gonna read it. I didn't send anyone the link. So the school committee is seeking input from students, families, and educators to help in the development of a cell phone policy for Concord-Carlisle High School. The survey gathers perspectives on current practices and potential future approaches to ensure a variety of voices are considered in the policymaking process. This survey, I'm gonna take this out because of feedback that I incorporated from Brian. It is not anonymous because this survey takes approximately 3 to 4 minutes. So
I think you can just delete that sentence, but I don't care.
do you want me to delete the survey takes 3 to 4 minutes or no?
I would
Any
leave
thoughts
it.
on that?
I think
Leave
it's
it?
good to let people know.
Okay,
that
leave
just
it.
gotta get
We're
rid
gonna
of the
drop all
is.
this.
Great,
Michael?
that's fine, leave
Yep.
the is. Get rid of the is. Yeah.
Get rid of the is.
The survey takes approximately.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
See, this is gonna be live in the meeting. Michael?
I just, not on that particular wording, I guess the question I have, is this something just for our school community or for the entire community?
So I think that we should discuss.
And depending how you frame that, I think it sort of determines what the whole prologue portion of the survey should be.
I mean, my thought, I mean, I think we should talk about that and what people feel as though who it should go to. I mean, I do think it should be for the school community. That would include teachers, parents, and students. But that's just my thought. And so we can maybe have a discussion about if we think we should spread it broader than that. cause I think there's a lot of misinformation out there of what's actually happening. And the education of, what's happening out there. So if anyone has any other thoughts,
So then would it be students just in the high school, or I guess families just in the high school, or would you look at elementary and middle schools too?
So when we get down below in the survey, it is for current parents or future parents, but I was thinking just students in the high school currently.
Again, the question is this for just the students in the school, the parents, teachers, and our community? Depending on what you want to reach and depending on how widely you want even to distribute information, you want to cast the net as widely as possible. So to speak to the misinformation you were talking about, you can dispel misinformation by the way you format the prologue to this, and then look for the data you get back and use that information from an informed population, both school and school community and community at large, to help us deliberate over what our policy to be. So I would argue for this being sent more widely than just the
school
community.
So why don't we kind of go around and see what people are thinking? Lynette, do you have thoughts? Sorry to put you on the spot. I'm just gonna go around the room and make sure we get everybody.
Why? I would think, I would think certainly the high school, maybe the middle schools, because those parents are coming sooner, but I don't, those are the people it's pertinent to. Those are the and they are the community. They are parents and families and the students that are involved in this. There's always a forum for the community to communicate with the school about what they think. They have our email to reach out to the school committee, but I don't think the survey needs to go. I wouldn't think Carlisle would, I don't think our larger community would weigh in on this because it's not relevant.
So you feel like middle school, like Carlisle 6 through 8?
Yeah.
Concord 6 through 8
and then
the high school?
Yeah.
Okay. Carrie?
I definitely agree 6 to 8. And that, cause I saw you added future CCAs.
Yes.
Cause that wasn't in the initial draft. And I think on the misperceptions piece, my feedback on the initial draft was that I think it needed to be more neutral, not, cause I worry that if you're looking at this as a tool to like dispel misinformation, that's not the purpose of a survey. The survey is to actually frame things as neutrally as possible so you can actually get where people are versus convincing them one way or the other.
Well,
So and that, but I'm just saying my feedback was to take away a lot of the content that was in the current one, and I don't know where that stands, frankly.
I've removed a lot of content.
That was one of my questions. Was there were a lot of things that if I were taking that without knowing the information I have being on this committee, I would be like, oh sure, that sounds great. But I actually, I think the actual question we ought to be asking is more neutral.
I agree with the questions need to be neutral and non-biased, but if you state that there's misperceptions and you don't at least define all the policy choices that are available, no policy.
So that was my feedback too, that there needs to be an inclusion of all the
so
policy
maybe
options.
if we keep going down through the survey, so like the question at hand is who gets the survey? So that's our first discussion point is who gets it. So Lynette has said 6 through 12, both Carlisle, Concord. Michael wants a broader community.
I think
6 through 12
makes a lot of sense.
Brian?
For students,
Yeah.
6 through 12, parents, educators, I think it's the people who are going to have the direct impact by this policy are the ones that need to weigh in.
I would say parents of 6 to 8 too.
I thought I said that.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were
said
saying
parents.
just students for 6 to 8.
No,
Okay,
parents.
yeah.
I mean,
Parents.
parents, can be K and up.
Yep.
But
And Andrew and Sandeep, you guys wanna chime in?
Yeah, I think from a student perspective, we have a policy for K through 8, and so I get it. Like 6th grader will be at high school in 3 years, but I also think I personally think that's too young for them to have meaningful data points in this like very complicated discussion. So I would send it to 8th graders plus for us from a student perspective. And then I think it goes to all the parents of, Concord and Carlisle public schools, and including Boston parents K through 12. If you have a kid that's enrolled in kindergarten, or Tracy like yourself, who has their last kid is graduating in a month, I think everything in between, everyone in between should take the survey. I don't think it goes to the community who don't have students in the schools. I just don't think that matters in this survey.
Okay, all right, Sandeep?
I actually think we send it out as broad as possible. This is not, this is not the sole input into the policy, right? This is going to give us an insight into what folks think, whether that's, parents of kids in the middle school, parents of kids in the high school kids, and even broader part of the community. There's a lot of knowledge in our town that we might be able to tap into. It is not anonymous, right? So we can look at the data to see and have that weigh that as a factor when we go to making decisions. So I don't know how we're gonna email blast the whole town. I don't think we need to, but having this, if somebody's interested, if somebody wants to weigh in, having it as an option for them, I'd be in favor of that.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
I guess this just goes to my other question, which is what is the point of the survey? What are we trying to accomplish by doing the survey? Is it to literally listen to everybody and just hear what people have to say? We do that all the time over email. We're always open to the community. My feeling on the survey, and I missed last meeting when we talked about this, so I apologize for that, but my feeling on the survey is not to hear from everybody. It is really to understand what is happening and how do people feel about it, and what are the feelings, or what are the thoughts on a policy shift, because I think I actually think what one of the public commenters said of lots of people are going to have feelings on what it is, but that actually isn't what people, how they might answer the questions. It does not necessarily dictate what we do. It really dictates how we do that, whatever the committee does, right? The implementation of it. So I guess my feeling is what are we trying to accomplish with this survey? Because then you have to determine who the audience is.
Yeah, and I guess my feeling is what we're trying to accomplish is to give people an avenue to comment, to not comment, but have some opinions on it. Because I think what we learned, I'll just go to the amenities building. When you're trying to do things without the community having input into things, then you have no idea what the pushback is gonna be. And I think this will inform our decision. I think it's still gonna be the decision of the committee, but I think it's just another piece of it. And it's not gonna be okay, 85% of the people said this, so this is what we're doing. I think this kind of discussion is super helpful for people to realize that we're not taking it lightly and we're not making quick decisions either. I look at how long it sat in the House and they still haven't decided on it. There's still no, part of the sticking point is who's gonna write the policy that's gonna be followed, and is it gonna be DESE? So MASC won't even write a policy for it right now, they're waiting. So I just feel like this is gonna give us some information. I'm not sure where this is gonna go, but at least we'll have some information from stakeholders.
And I think we need that information because, as we've seen, unless you feel very strongly on a topic, you're not gonna make the time to come and make a public comment.
Yes.
You're not gonna make the time to go to a coffee. This, we've got, especially students, teachers, we gotta get.
But that's also
Some-
true of volunteer surveys, you know what I mean? However, what's your opinion on the reach?
The reach,
Yeah.
I still think it should be, I'm a little bit swayed, I'll be honest, I'm swayed now. My initial thought was 6 through 12. But then, I hear Andrew say, well, the 6th graders, when you think about that, okay, they could be a little bit young. 8 through 12 might be better on the students. And I was not thinking K to 12 parents. I think if we do survey K to 12 parents or community members, we're gonna have to add so we know how old the kids are. Maybe it should be K to 6, 6 to 8, 9 through 12 parent or community member, if we decide the outreach is gonna go further than that.
If we
I think that this is, there are two different things I think we should think about when we do this policy. One, again, you've spoken to the fact that there's misinformation. If you're calling for responses from a group that's informed by misinformation, the data we get back is not necessarily going to be helpful. So I think one part of this, and that's why I pointed to the prologue. The prologue needs to at least give the groundwork, the basic foundation that people are going to be looking at, so they understand what the policies available are, what the choices are. And then the second part is to look at, distribute to whatever community we end up deciding we want to. But if we cast it narrowly, there may be families that have their children in private school now that are looking at our schools to see what we want to see what they would want. And but we lose that if we only cast narrowly. So argument would be give a firm baseline of information so everybody that's looking at the survey understands, one, what we have now, two, what is the roster of things available. As neutrally as possible, we frame our questions. And then we see what we get back and use that as fuel for us to deliberate on what we want the policy to be.
Yep.
And to Michael's point, if we are gonna open it up further, I also think we gotta look at the questions, cause some of these,
Totally.
like,
Yes.
as
So why
I
don't we
would not
just,
be able to answer as
No.
a future parent.
right, so let's go through, let's take a little pause from the first section and let's go through the questions. Brian had sent some feedback on it should not be anonymous, and I do agree with that. I think it's important that, you know, if you're taking time to fill out the survey, you can put your name and email address. And then that way we can ensure that people aren't filling it out multiple times too.
Well, that was one of my questions
Cause that
too,
was,
like, is
that
it-
was part of your feedback. Okay. Sorry, I'm making Brian be the editor live, so we're gonna do both. Alright, so then we have the primary affiliation with Concord-Carlisle High School. So again, let's just pause and go through the whole survey. Once we decide if we're gonna add more to this question. Which community do you live in? There's Concord-Carlisle.
So for that one,
Yep.
if we go wider, we'd have to do we'd have to have like a fifth box community at large, right?
Well,
No, cause it would still be Concord or
it would still be
Carlisle or
Concord,
Boston.
Carlisle, or Boston.
If other do you require?
Other,
No, I
so
meant
the other
on
thought
one.
was
it-
maybe for staff. You know, if they could choose other, or we could make the question just like staff.
Let's come back to this, we've already,
Yeah.
like, it's gonna depend on the.
It's gonna
who we
depend on
send it
everything
to.
else. Would you like to?
Well, there's a tweak,
Go ahead.
yeah, I mean, the other is also you've got kids from other
Other-
communities.
like
Other communities that go to
teachers,
schools.
Parents
yeah.
or staff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
So I think you need another.
you need the other, okay. So current CCHS practice, now I think this, can you scroll down just a little bit? Sorry, this was done at 3:00, the last
wanna-
section, I'm just gonna scroll for a
Right.
minute. Because the current policy is down here, this needs a little bit rejiggering, I think, so maybe I'm just gonna move this section. But it's gonna be complicated if I try to move this live. The current practice is phones and caddies during class, accessible during lunch and passing, that is our current practice. Away and out of sight, phones are kept in bags or lockers, not visible at any point during class. And bell to bell means no phone access for the entire school day, including lunch, passing periods, and off-campus free blocks. So this is where it got combined into, all of the feedback got combined together. Because is bell to bell, does that mean that our kids can't use it off campus because it's bell to bell, or they can? Cause that's gonna, you know, change some things.
I have a question.
Yep.
I think, and this was, like, one of my questions was about, you know, there is this line between policy and implementation.
Yes.
Like, we are not responsible for implementation. Where does off-campus fall in that line?
I
Is
think
that
that's a
something that
question.
we have to decide as a committee, or is that something you have to decide as, if the committee decides one route, is that part of implementation?
You need to be very clear for me as to what your expectation is off
Yeah.
campus.
Okay,
I think-
I'm just curious, cause I don't,
So does anyone have any thoughts on, we cannot take comments for the public during a meeting because this is not a hearing, I apologize. You know, the only other thing is to put something, one would be bell to bell restrictions with no off campus. And one could be bell to bell with use off campus.
just add a fourth option.
We could add a fourth option if we wanted to do that.
I'd be in favor of that.
Away and out of sight is actually almost backtracking from current practice
Mhm.
because they would just be keeping them
Yes.
on their person.
On their person, yep.
So are you saying we should list that first and then current practice?
I think we need to.
I think
maybe
we need
just-
to list that first
Yeah, I actually agree, like in the order of,
at the top, so people know what they're talking about before they take the actual survey.
oh, right, yeah. No, I was saying in the order of like,
Strictest.
right,
Making
exactly,
it
like
difficult.
limit level.
If we adopted away and out of sight, we're actually loosening things up compared
Yes,
to the current practice.
yes. But this again is incorporating everyone's feedback. So we can take that out and we can just look at current practice, bell to bell, you know.
No, I like your idea of adding the fourth option.
You wanna add the fourth one, but do we wanna take away and out of sight?
Oh,
My vote would be yes.
oh,
I
I'm
don't-
fine with
I
that,
don't-
yeah.
I don't wanna
Why
go
would we
backwards.
go back? We should
personally.
go, yeah.
Now, away of, I mean, I guess
That's
I'll play
what the-
devil's advocate,
that's
away and out of
CMS is.
sight. But away and out of sight is also during lunch and passing times. If
Is
it's
it though?
away
'Cause
and
it
out of
says
sight,
Not in class.
not at any point during class, but it says nothing about lunch and passing times. Or free blocks. So the high school gets very complicated because there are different, it's not, there's not a free block at the middle school. So I think this needs a little bit of work, so maybe with the fourth, do you wanna just edit and just put, we can do a little bit more work on it, but just say, one could be bell to bell restrictive and one could be bell to bell, like, not including off campus. I do think that's gonna be, if you have a high school child, you 100% want them with their cell phones when they're off campus. And it is for things like Evelyn said, like using your map, what if your car breaks down, what if you're in an emergency? It's not just for ordering DoorDash. So,
Okay,
it's really weird, sorry.
Yeah.
It's really making Brian work.
okay.
Okay, so
So we
let's-
agree that at the top of this section, there should be a definition of what the options are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So we go back up here, so sorry that this is really, I'm just gonna write definition just as a, maybe we can put it here, I know I didn't spell that right.
That's fine.
Okay. Okay, let's go to question one, your experience, how consistently is the classroom caddy practice used during instructional time, including directed study and flex blocks? Does anyone have any comments or concerns with that question?
So I guess my
It's
comment.
the audience, it goes
It's
back to the
back
audience.
to
Goes
the
back to the
audience.
audience, right.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a way, and there probably is a way if we use SurveyMonkey, which is something different. I think there is a way that you can say, if you're in this
Yeah.
category, you get these questions,
I
you're
just think
this
the more
category, you get these.
complicated we make this, the like harder it is to actually use the data.
Yeah, well, and this
So-
is why I'm happy
Tracy,
we're
we
all
can
talking about
we can do that with the forms also.
it. In forms, you can do that, so maybe Sandeep
Oh, yeah.
can help with some technical support on this.
Yep. I got it.
So, is this a question we want in for students and parents?
I think
High
just
school
students,
students?
like why would parents know?
Or teachers?
I would, teachers and students
Teachers and
maybe,
students.
yeah, I mean,
Okay.
Parents are only gonna hear it anecdotally.
yeah.
Okay.
I don't think they're gonna
From-
hear, I
from
don't
the
put my phone
students.
in.
Right, oh yes.
Yes.
Sorry, yeah, you do teachers and students.
Yeah.
And that'll just be our note, like, just like.
I'm actually having a problem with sequestering. Whoever has the pertinent information is going to answer. I'm not quite, you're saying to the students and parent wants to answer it too from what their knowledge, I'm not certain why you sequester the information.
So I think we're saying just give it to students and, like, this question would just go to students and teachers, cause they're the only people with that information.
The other stakeholders just wouldn't see
Cause
it, they'd go on
parents
to the
wouldn't
next.
know necessarily how it's working in a classroom.
I don't know that you can say that.
Well, I think unless your child is telling you what's happening in the classroom.
No, I think, but that,
Is that
even
what you're
still, that's
saying?
anecdotal. That's not actual experience, it's not in your experience. You're just hearing it secondhand. Cause you, like,
In your household.
it's not in my household,
But
it's at the high
you're-
school,
but again, you're
that's not, I'm not
you're
seeing it.
you're
Cause I think you're given the opportunity to weigh in on that practice in the question above, well, actually, wait, what's the question? Is
So
there
the
anything
question
under
is-
the
I think
definitions?
it was just wording.
This is
Yeah,
really
thought
hard because
we-
we haven't looked at it, like.
I know it's
Thought
hard,
we-
I know. And this is
thought
why it's
we'd
gonna
be able
take us
to-
some time.
Ought we be able to filter questions by demographic? So like if you're a, like, you know, you could discount that question if you are select community at large in the upfront demographic intake.
Yeah.
Or you could count it, like, you know, I think anything's possible when you have the questions to filter by demographic.
Right, so if we look at that question, can we agree that that would go to students' current high school, if you check off current high school student or current high school parent? Are we okay with that,
Yes.
to get that
We
question?
can ask the parent, I mean, again.
Not
parenting-
parent, sorry, I'm sorry, did I misspeak?
Teachers and students.
Teachers and students get that question.
I
Are
have
we
a
okay
problem
with that? You what?
I have a problem with
Okay, so Lynette,
I would say and
we're gonna
parents.
straw poll it.
What was that, Cindy?
I said throw the parents in there.
So you agree that but how would the parents know if it's working or not?
I mean, we can look at the data and see if we get, you know, if there is disparity between what the students say and what the parents say.
Strikes me.
And leave the option of, you know, not sure, right? That's already there. So if parents
Okay.
don't know, they can select not sure.
To Andrew's point, you can dissect the data, so if you're gonna add parents,
Right.
you might as well just keep it open, and people can say, I don't know.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, my other just thinking about this is, I think we could have 5 more meetings on this as a group of 7 and still not come to a perfect consensus, and
It
at some
has
point,
to
we're
be-
just gonna
we have to
we're gonna
just
get
move
it
on.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we just have to decide if we're gonna get it out or not, right? Or when we wanna get it out. Alright,
So
so
I think,
let's go,
is a goal tonight to get this to like 80 or 90% and then have our statistician Sandeep or someone like, you know, make sure that we're getting the proper intake and can filter everything through, and as long as we're good on the questions in general, we could filter by demographic, right?
yes, I would agree with that. If we could get it to like 90% to talk about this at our next meeting, I think that's the goal. Okay, are we good with that? Alright, next question. Do you believe the current practice, phones stored in caddies during instructional time, is sufficient? And does everybody get this question?
I have a very big problem with this
You
question.
have a big question,
I
okay?
do too.
I just
that's
think
fine.
it's completely irrelevant. Like,
Okay.
I think if we ask at the top what your feeling is on these 4 different policy options,
Okay,
how you feel about the current one as a standalone option is totally irrelevant.
okay. Alright, let's,
So-
Michael,
I
you
think-
agree?
I agree with that. I think it introduces bias and I.
Yeah.
Okay. Lynette, agrees?
Yep.
Brian, okay,
That's fine.
we're getting rid of it. Alright. So I think this is the section that needs to move out.
Yeah.
How supportive would you be of each of the following approaches? And again, this is taking everybody's input.
Wait, did you just go up? Wait, I feel like this should be at the, this
Yes,
should be the
that should
first
be
one.
us. Yeah, we're gonna move
Okay.
that.
I'm not gonna move it right now.
Yeah, we're
No,
not
no, that
moving it
makes
now,
sense,
it's too complicated. How supportive would you be of each of the following approaches? So this is where it's important, we have the current caddy system, enhanced caddy system, this kind of came up as like, do more than we already have. I think that's confusing personally.
Yeah.
Away and out of sight, then there's that bell to bell with no off-campus use, bell to bell with off-campus use. So I think if we stated those 4,
It needs to match whatever you
Needs to
define
match.
as a bullet.
Needs to match what you put in the
And I think
definitions.
current practice needs to have a name too, like it needs to be like caddy.
current caddy
Caddy.
system,
I would say like caddy system,
System.
current.
okay,
You know
caddy
what I mean?
system,
Because
current.
everything needs to have a name,
Okay.
and then it needs to align those 2 sections.
It's gotta be the same in those 2
Exactly.
sections, okay.
Do you force people to rank these? Like, can I come through and say I'm very supportive of all 4, cause that's not actually gonna help us, but if I can say
Oh, you have,
Hey.
only
You can
one
check
can be
all of
very
them.
supportive, like
can I check very
Oh, I
supportive all
don't
the way
know.
down?
Sandeep?
Sandeep, our data
I
guy?
mean,
Force
we
rank.
can set up like that if you want, but to Brian's point, if he selects very supportive of everything, it doesn't really yield us any good data.
So is it better to rank it?
Yeah.
Do a ranking system? Alright,
Yep, rank it 1 through 4.
okay, rank
But
1
see, but that leaves the option if you're not necessarily sure how it'll work. You might just want to leave it blank also. But yeah, we can put that in the ranking.
I like that idea.
okay,
Okay.
we're moving along now.
I-
Yep.
To make it very
Need to
clear on
look at
those,
the
which is
language.
the best and which is the worst, or, you know, like most,
Yep.
yeah, okay.
One is best and lower is worst, something like that.
Yep, Michael?
I think that if you scroll to the selections need to be consistent with the definitions.
That we have
need
up
to be-
top.
That you have up top.
Yep.
And I have a problem with the current caddy system. I think you should try to be very careful not to introduce bias in that.
Yeah.
Just
Just
name
caddy
name
system.
the caddy system, enhanced caddy system, away and out of sight, bell to bell with the caveats.
Yep.
So be careful not to bias.
Yep, okay, so
I
we'll
also
call
think,
it
can
caddy
you,
system.
if we
Yeah.
do decide to send this out far and wide, you have to define caddy system,
Yes,
like
we
before
do.
I worked here, I never knew, I was like, what is a caddy? Like,
People have no
when you
idea.
say shoe rack, I'm like, oh, that makes so much more sense.
It's a shoe rack,
Yeah.
I know, that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's a literal like shoe rack with
Yeah.
numbers
Yeah.
on it.
We could put a picture, right? Can we put a picture?
Actually, you can put a picture in, and I think we should put a picture in, so people know that that's exactly.
That's in the
Yeah.
in the prologue to
Yep.
the.
Okay. All right, Brian, you're doing an excellent job of being a note taker.
I should actually know how to type.
I know, it's okay, but it's my computer, that's
Yeah,
why. I really am a loud typer and I think I've damaged my keys.
I think
All
we're up to
right,
number 6.
Number 6, how do cell phones impact learning during the school day? I don't like this question personally, but
Bad question.
do we agree it's a bad question?
You don't learn anything from that.
Delete.
Yeah.
7, to what extent do you feel personally distracted, I don't know why that's in all capital letters, distracted by your phone during class?
Yeah, delete it.
Delete, I would say delete. See, it's so much more helpful when the whole group is discussing it together. Okay, in your opinion, when, if ever, should students be allowed to access phones during the day? And ignore this, cause I didn't you can cut that part out. And your choices are not during the school day, lunch only, passing time in lunch, free periods, including off campus, for academic purposes when directed by an educator, medical necessity.
I have a problem with the question, at least from the reading I've done, there's things that argue against a lot of these. And we want to, I think the wording is problematic. It might be better to ask what considerations should come to bear. Because this is a question that we should get information from. It's a problematic question.
Okay,
I would cut it, I feel like it's irrelevant.
Can we put a pause in this so we can open our hearing, then come right back to it? But, and hold everyone's thought on this question? Just
Yeah.
cause I don't wanna just cut it without having a little bit more conversation on it. So if you wanna.
Questions do we have?
It's just a few more.
Just a few more. But the hearing has to start at 6 o'clock cause it was advertised. So if you just stop the share and we'll come, I promise we'll come right back to this. All right. Look, I've left myself like 30 seconds. So everybody can think and marinate on that for 30 seconds before I open the hearing, because I can't open it till 6 o'clock. I could have given it one more minute.
Yeah, that timing was impeccable.
I mean, I really tried. I was getting nervous. I'm like watching the clock. I needed the oh, here it is. Okay, it is 6 o'clock. So I am going to open the school choice hearing and we will roll call in.
Check present.
Wait, do we have to make a motion? I move that
I
the
can just-
Concord.
Make a motion, go ahead.
Oh, no, sorry, this is
No,
not,
it's-
sorry,
you don't
sorry,
need it.
sorry,
I'm just
sorry,
gonna open the hearing and we're gonna roll
Jumping
call in. So Percheck, start again.
Check present.
Kelleher present.
Morano present.
Bishardi present.
Rankin present.
Watterson present.
Williams present.
Okay, as we do every year, this is our school choice hearing in which we can take questions from the public. And I am gonna turn it over to Dr. Hunter. You have the memo in your packet and the memo is also available online.
So you have to have this review and vote annually, so it is again my recommendation for 2026-2027 school year that you vote not to participate in the school choice provision of the state law for 2 reasons, which are consistent from previous years. Due to current enrollment is close to the school building's capacities, and there is not an equitable or adequate transportation system to allow all students to be able to attend a school in another district. So that is my recommendation, and you can consider that in your vote.
Okay, does anyone have any questions for Dr. Hunter from the committee?
I have a question. Over the years, wasn't sitting on the committee when this was decided last year, but I think I was sitting out there. Has anything changed in either of these categories? And I know that recently we've been reporting that our census is declining. Would that have any impact on
It really hasn't. It hasn't declined so dramatically that we have suddenly all these open spaces in any one level. So we've got a space here or there that has opened up, but we've pretty quickly been able to spread out another need and utilize that space for something that wasn't adequately situated. So there really isn't a change.
Any other questions from the committee? And I will open it up to the public for any comments or questions. Any in the room? I don't see any in the room about the school choice. And anyone online? I don't see any online. So now we will take a vote.
I move that the Concord and Concord-Carlisle school committees vote to not participate in school choice for the school year 2026 to 2027.
Do we have a second?
Seconded.
Okay, Andrew Hercheck seconding and roll call.
Hercheck, aye.
And this is for both districts.
Hercheck, aye for both.
Yes, thank you.
Kelleher, I for region.
Morano, aye for both.
Riccardi, aye for both.
Rankin, I for both.
Watterson, aye for region.
And
Williams abstain.
anyone else? And now I am gonna close the hearing and we're gonna roll call to close the hearing because when in doubt, always roll call.
Hercheck, aye.
Kelleher, I.
Morano, aye.
Riccardi, aye.
Rankin, I.
Watterson, aye.
Williams, aye.
Okay. Back to, I'm gonna share the screen again. A riveting cell phone survey. Okay. You know where we were at. Question 8. In your opinion, when if ever should students be allowed to access their phones during the school day? And I believe that Michael and Carrie did not like this question. Okay.
He had some, I just think that this is outside the scope of the school committee. This would definitely fall squarely into an implementation. And so this would be more of an administrative ask than a school committee ask.
Okay, and Carrie is our resident policy guru, I like to call her.
Not for much longer.
Not for much longer. So let's
I see that smile on your face. I guess I don't like the way the question is worded, but I think in terms of gaining information for how we think about setting a policy, there's something that could be gained in that. But I also agree that opinion, let me put it this way. Our community's opinion might frame how we need to educate the community toward whatever policy the data directs us. So it would be helpful for us to learn that. The administration is going to operationalize that, but in terms of forming the policy, a question like this, better worded, would give us the input we need to better tell us how we educate our community on whatever our ultimate policy is going to be. So I can see an importance for it. I think the wording is problematic.
Okay.
One other sorry, and
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll stop
No,
talking.
please do.
My only there are endless there are endless reasons why. Like, I just think that you'd have to have 25 different squares to check, you know?
Well, and I'm
And I know you're
thinking-
saying other,
Yeah,
but like.
but I'm thinking one that didn't make it on here was, I mean, some of our ELL students use it for translation.
Sure.
And, you know, that's not on here.
But those are things that, you know, as I looked at some of the other policies that are around the country, around the Commonwealth, 504 plans, IEPs, documented educational needs, those are already exempted.
Right.
And that also is information that should be in the prologue, so that when we send this out, everybody knows that, okay, you don't need to worry about that. That takes it out of this. So, worded differently, I think there's use that can be gleaned from this question. Again, for how we need to educate our public toward whatever policy we decide on. But I just need to word it differently.
Okay.
Like, is it something like these are common scenarios where, you know, that often get discussed, and do you support these, yes or no? Or to what degree? I think there can be some helpful data to come out of this, but if we can get the question worded.
It takes a word crafter
Yeah.
to format this in an unbiased fashion. But I agree that there's information that can be.
So there's
gleaned from this.
information that would be helpful from this question. Lynette shaking her head, yes. Carrie's a no. Sandeep and Andrew, do you have any thoughts? Are they here?
Yeah, I'm here. I don't have anything smart to say on this. I don't personally think
You always do.
I would provide anything of value, but you know, I'm not everyone, right? So, yeah.
Okay, Andrew, you have any thoughts on this one?
I mean, again, none of us are survey writers, right?
Yeah.
So I do think there's information here that could be interesting.
Yeah.
I do agree with Michael that, you know, if you preface the special circumstances where these would happen anyway, then, you know, this isn't like a 20-minute survey, right? I don't know
Yeah.
how many questions we're gonna end up. So I don't know, if we redo the prompt,
Reword.
I'm fine with it.
Okay, so that looks like a reword, so some potentially important data, we need to rework the language, perfect. All right, we're almost done, I promise. What concerns, if any, do you have about restricting phone access during the school day?
I think we need to split the autonomy and mental health.
Split it?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's a great
good
point.
idea.
Yep.
And I get rid of the if any, and just say, do you have concerns about restricting the phone access during the day?
Concerns on there,
Yeah, so what concerns do you have? Check all that apply or something like that, okay? Are we good with that, you guys? Yes?
Yeah.
Yep,
I like
okay.
that one.
10. What kind of communication or app access is most important for students during the school day? Urgent contact with the family, school-specific apps, medical necessity, and I think Aisha has dropped, because I would like an opinion from Aisha and Michelle on this too.
On this one, I've been swayed by previous conversations, so I don't think I had an opinion on this, but I think there's a question of not what kind of communication or app access is most important, but like is app access most important? You know what I mean? Like you're assuming that people want communication or app access with the wording of that.
Yep, and so the app access, and Lori, I'm gonna ask you to just chime in on the MyFlex Learning app and how kids, I heard Evelyn say it, I mean, I know it from my own kid, but they check in and they check out for
If
off
they leave
campus?
campus, yeah.
If they leave
They
campus?
can do it on a computer.
Yeah, okay.
Just like
But
they
the
can for
likelihood
first.
of when you're going off campus that you're gonna take your laptop out of your bag and, you know, check out.
But
is
do you have
kind
to
of
do
slow.
that to leave? Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
Open campus is only open once you've checked out.
Yeah.
So we wanna know where you are.
No, I think that's that's absolutely
Yeah.
right,
So
but I'm
they-
just
they
saying
do
like the
have to do
likelihood is, like,
Yeah,
if they
I
want to
wouldn't-
leave, they would have to
They
do
would have
that.
to take out their
Yeah,
laptop
they-
and learn how to use it.
And it would
Yeah.
just become normal.
Yeah.
But
You think that would become normal?
if that's the only way you can get off campus. So my problem is that from what I've read, there's a way to get urgent contact with your family without a cell phone. There's a question about some of the school specific apps, but as we just talked about, if that's the only way you can clear your time off campus by going to FlexPack, the computer can do that. There are other tools that are available to do that. Medical necessity, that's something else that would be in the program.
Right.
Because, you know, kids that are using their phones for glucose monitors and whatever else, that's going to be in there.
So can we take this question out?
At all?
I think we take it out and it
Yeah.
becomes operational.
Yeah.
I mean,
Can students text from their school laptops?
No.
Does iMessage work?
We shut off.
Okay,
shut off.
all right.
All right, and then this section, so there was an open-ended question at the very end, which I got a lot of feedback saying, you're gonna get a lot of information that you really can't use. So this is really just directing people, and I probably got the email address wrong, so can you just highlight that so we check that? And it's just if you have any further comments or suggestions, you can email us. So I hope that I've incorporated everyone's feedback. Is there anything that anyone on the committee wishes that they saw in this survey that we've left out or I've left out?
It's kind of hard to say because we've gone so granular, we never like took a step back to think about it holistically, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I guess the question remains of like, who are we sending it to? But
So again, what I'm gonna say is.
all in
if
all,
we
I'd
clean
rather
this-
get it out than wait for it to be perfect.
So how about this? How about if we clean up the survey? I'm gonna give two people homework. One, I'm gonna give Brian homework to wordsmith that question.
Okay.
I trust you to do that. And Sandeep, how about if you get the homework of formatting it?
Yep, I can do that.
Is that
There
okay?
was, yes, that is okay. There was
Because
one
then we will
additional
not
question.
be a forum that has access to this either, if we have Brian do the wording and Sandeep do the manipulation.
I personally trust them.
I do too.
To get it
Right.
out.
Thanks, Andrew.
Tracy, there was one question that I think, I don't know if it's addressed there just yet. It's and maybe if it is, I'm sorry. It says, what matters most in a cell phone policy? And I think that answer will be different depending on who we poll, right? But I think it's important to capture that.
What matters most? So
And you know, the options potentially could be reducing classroom distraction,
like
ease of
another ranking
enforcement.
one, like a way to rank it? When you say most,
Potentially,
that's why I feel like that's a ranking.
Yep, it could be ease of enforcement. It's you know, communication with family. And again, I don't know exactly what those options should be, so I'll have to give it some thought. But and you know, this came to me once when Carrie was mentioning on why we're doing this. I think we really want to find out, you know, if from the community, if we do have a policy, why is it that we should have a policy?
So we're gonna clean this up and then look at it in May?
We're gonna clean it up, we're gonna look at it in May, and we have to decide who it's going to. So I think if we, as soon as it's cleaned up, and it will go out with the packet for May, so everybody will see it ahead of time in like PDF form. And then we'll finish it in our May meeting. Carrie, will you be with us? Carrie won't be with us.
No, but I've offered my input.
Do you feel as though you've been thorough enough in your input? Is there anything else? Yeah, no, I'm serious.
I said, yeah.
I feel bad, okay.
No.
So,
We can have another meeting just for this.
just for this, Carrie, would you like another
No,
meeting?
you know
We
what?
could do that
I-
easily. No?
Let me think about it, I'll get back to you.
Alright, I think this is
When's
actually,
your next April meeting? Concord?
the Concord April meeting is the 15th. Wednesday, the 15th. So, so with that, we're gonna wait again, and we're gonna spend some more time on this. I actually think this is a super.
He's so close to offering the
He's
Carlisle.
offering that Carlisle comes to that, well,
And that's
maybe
like,
you're-
Brian,
well,
Brian.
why don't you guys talk to each other? We could just have one item, like at a scheduled time, I'm happy to do that, if we wanted to do that on April 15th. But that, cause you know what, as the time goes on, so here's the issue. I mean, this is not going out until May.
Yeah.
If we did it at the April meeting, it could go out right after April vacation, cause I wouldn't think that we would wanna send it out before the vacation, and then we could keep it open. I would suggest only keeping it open for 2 weeks. I just think that like people are either gonna do it or they're not gonna do it.
Yeah.
You know, unless you think that 2 weeks is too long. Do we have any thoughts on that?
I defer to, I feel like Lori's
Lori,
the,
like,
knows
two
the
weeks
survey
is-
about what we
2
tend to
weeks?
do,
Okay,
yeah.
so it'll be a 2 week. So I'm gonna let our Carlisle members discuss that amongst themselves. And if you choose to join us on the 15th, you could Zoom in, of course. We could have you. And we'll- Yep,
Do we
go
just
ahead.
need one of them, right, for
We just
a
need
official
one.
quorum and, yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
I
think
think-
we're moving on. I know we talked about this a lot. It would just, as we discuss this, it would be great to have one question that gets at the point of, do we think this is a school committee policy that is the most important in regulating cell phone use, or is this something that should be a parent-driven individual policy? Because they can jam phones, you know, they can restrict access, everything from their own devices to their kids. And this is a problem I see in general with our community, and maybe it's a lot of communities, but a lot of people, you know, we are in charge of protecting students, no question, when they get on the bus, when they get off the bus, but it doesn't mean parents don't play a role in sort of, you know, even though they're not physically there, they can be there in a way. And I'm just wondering if it's worth getting a question that kind of gets at that. It also might not be a good thought, so.
Well, I think the important discussion that I know that you and I have talked a little bit about, like, is this handbook, is it policy, are we waiting for the state, we're not waiting for the state, like, there are so many moving pieces with this.
Yeah.
That I think that's like the next version of the discussion, so maybe not for the survey, but certainly
Yeah,
for the
okay.
committee to discuss.
Got it. Yeah, okay.
Unless anyone disagrees with that.
No, yeah, that's probably right.
I also
I
think
think
like
we said in
with
February.
families, the families are like part of the rollout of whatever is decided. It's like,
yeah,
to get their buy-in, to say like, hey, we're in this together, you know, like this is our opportunity to weigh in, and emailing us, coming to these meetings, like there's lots of opportunities for them to weigh in on their role, and like, but I think our buy-in, the buy-in piece of it comes later.
And we have a chunk of time where our community's children are in charge, and we should, in a prudent and well-studied fashion, argue for what we think is best for that time, mindful that the time that we don't have them.
Out of our control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that, I am gonna close up this
Yep.
discussion because we've been at this for probably like 30 minutes. I think it was.
Just wanted to add that
Yeah.
we use Panorama, as you know.
Yeah.
They do have questions. There's like a sample cell phone impact survey.
Could you share that with us?
Yeah, I
Okay.
can send it to you if there's anything that might be useful in that.
Okay.
And then, when will we be seeing that data?
We're about to roll it out next week.
Excellent.
Okay. I actually just, you know, just so I can say it, I think this was a really important discussion for the school committee to have. I certainly appreciate everybody's thoughts on this, because it's really hard when you write a survey and you're like, okay, I don't know how this is gonna land. So I appreciate your feedback. I think that, you know, these are the types of discussions that I'm really, you know, craving at this level, because I think that it is important. It's important for the community to know that we're talking about it. And that's what I'll say about that. So thank you. Okay, okay, policies. This is a first reading. We have 3 policies. You have them included in your packet. I do think that the first read of, let's just start with policy ECAB. This is a new policy. And this has to do with access to buildings and grounds. And this is, Lori, can I ask you to share, or want me to share? You sure? If you can just share ECAB clean. And I think I put this in the overview that we do have a policy, but not for the actual access. So this is the MASC recommended policy.
Obviously, we'll fill in the district names.
Yes. And I'm assuming everyone had a chance to read this. My feeling is this is a recommended policy and it does have to do with access, safety, et cetera. Does anybody have any additional thoughts or comments on that? Michael?
Just questioning.
Yeah.
All of these policies, all three look like they've been recently rewritten 2025.
Yep.
Just some background on, do we know why the masks saw it necessary to make this change?
So in there, I think I included everything that they've had in our agenda overview. So every year they send MASC updates, and this was just part of the updates, and they felt as though that their model policies needed this. And so that's really the only information I have. I can certainly check anything with Alicia, but that they felt as though they were lacking in this area. So that would be policy ECAB. And again, this is a first read, so the goal would be to vote these in May. K1, and this is visitor to schools. This had a lot of changes in it. So I think if you just pull up the track changes.
I think it was way too specific before, so
Yes.
this seems much, it's very messy with all the strikeouts, but it's much more general, which I think makes a lot more sense than some of the very procedural things that were in there.
Right. And do we have a KIR? Do we have an R on this one? I gotta look.
I don't think so.
I don't think we do. No, I think they generalize this policy and it does have with visitors to schools. And do you see any issues with the implementation of this? And would you recommend that this is a policy that you, because we're supposed to ask you on your superintendent's recommendation, would you recommend that this would be a policy that we would adopt?
Yes, I think the previous one was too specific.
Too specific, yeah. Okay. Anyone have any questions or issues on policy KI? And I should ask Andrew and Sandeep, I can't see you really when you're sharing.
No, I'm
So
good.
feel free
I
to
read
just
them in
unmute
detail.
if you need to.
Yep.
Okay?
Good.
And then our third policy is on school nutrition. And it is very standard school food and nutrition on meal modifications.
So is there not a current school food and nutrition?
I don't think we have a current
Not
EFBA,
on
no.
meal modifications.
No.
Oh, modifications. Is this to
Yeah.
align with like, I mean, yeah.
It's probably come up in some of the reviews that have happened that you need to have something like this.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
I don't have any issue with it. I'm just curious of why.
Yeah.
I
Likely
mean-
it's regulatory.
Yeah. Any other comments on policy
Oh yeah, there's the
ESBA?
reference right there.
Yeah, right down there.
USDA, that's where it's
Yeah.
coming.
Yeah. And to accommodate disabilities in school meal programs. Okay, so we will see all of these items again at our May meeting. And we will take a vote on adopting all these new policies. All right, discussion item F, Sandeep, bias and hate incident working group, do you have an update for us?
Yes, so I have half an update. Actually, I'll give the update that I have, but the most recent, I'm blanking on the word, focus group was held this past Sunday, and I don't have any update from that. But that focus group was set up after our last meeting, primarily to gauge or I guess solicit inputs from a younger audience, because that's something that we had previously lacked. Recapping, I guess, the last meeting, one of the things that has come through is the interest in that group for ensuring that I'm blank on words today. The tool that is going to be set up is mostly about ensuring that incidents are reported and visible. And one of the restrictions that has come up often in the discussions is if anonymous reporting is not allowed, then people feel less inclined to report. So making sure that the tool has anonymous reporting capability seems to be really important, and that's something that working group is really striving to provide. Looking ahead, I don't know if this has been scheduled yet, but either the next meeting or the one after, we are planning on inviting Andrew. I know that email's gone out, Andrew Namichi.
Yeah, he'll
And
be there next
Laurie, I
week.
believe, next one, okay. We are looking to hear from the schools on how that implementation process went, setting up this incident reporting, bias and hate incident reporting system, and learn from maybe some of the experiences that the school districts had, and try not to duplicate some of the learning pains, and use that to make sure whatever the town is setting up is set up for success. And I think that's it. We're expecting to report out to the select board on the 15th of next month. That's right after the town meeting.
And when does your group end?
Yeah, we're expecting to report out on the 15th, right about the 15th of May. I do think after we report out to the select board, one of the things that we will do is take that recommendation, go to the community, and share with them, what our recommendation was, and get feedback. Because the recurring theme has been, building trust in a system, and the thought is we'll be able to build that trust through this cycle of exchanging information with the community and getting feedback. So we're going to try and do that.
Right. Yep, Michael.
So 2 points. I at the Croc Center meeting, when this came up, talked about altering the name and focus of this agenda item. One, the name, and I sent both you and Andrew request to have this on the agenda on March 5th. To change the focus, the name of this particular agenda item to bias assessment, and take it away from looking specifically at the bias and hate incident reporting work, because just as Sandeep brought up, that's going to end in May. But incidents of bias and hate, hopefully they will decline, but we still need to have an assessment, a regular assessment of the climate across our campuses. So I propose that we have a name change, keep the agenda space, but change the name to make it a bias assessment. And as informed by input from the bias and hate incident reporting work group, or whatever tool that they come up with and is adopted, we can use that to inform us both for the community and the tool we have for our schools. So just ask that be brought up for conversation.
Yep, and I kept this is where I struggled a little bit, because I kept the title, because on February 4th, we committed to putting on every agenda. So I didn't want to just change it.
No.
And so I think like for this meeting and for the May meeting would also be appropriate, because that group isn't over, to keep this, but this is the space for it, and then, we'll discuss after that.
Yeah, so bring it open for us to discuss and make the determination.
Great.
Can I just ask Michael, if we change it for June onwards, what would that look like on a monthly basis when we're meeting as school committee? Like, what are we looking at? Data? Are we?
I'm using this as I'm using what we've seen in the select board as a model. And
I don't tend to go to Concord Select Board meetings, so if you can
I'll describe it for you.
Yeah.
Since July and the aftermath of the ADL filing, our select board has had an item on their agenda to consistently look at, and in fact, that's how the bias and hate incident reporting work group came into being, from the deliberations the select board had on how to manage this issue across our community. So I think that seems logical that we could have a similar item to look at how we manage, how we consider incidents when they occur, or our climate over the course of our academic year, over the course of our charge. And to do that regularly and consistently requires it being an agenda item that we touch base on. We can use data from our reporting system, we can use data that we glean from the community, from liaisons to the select board and so forth, liaisons to the DEI commission, and put that all in the mix for us to discuss and see where we stand. And if things are going great, and if things aren't, discuss tweaks, but this would be the portion of our agenda, of our regular agenda, and I think makes sense that it would be part of the regional, because it would cover both.
Yeah.
And going forward.
But sort of 1 quarter into 2026, what does that look like at the select board meetings now? What are they doing in the, short of talking about?
A lot of discussion now. I think it started as more discussion, over the summer. And there's not a lot of discussion now.
There are a lot of issues that are going on in the community, and they've all filtered into discussion at the level of the select board, the level of the DEI commission, and those have come back regularly. In fact, the open meeting law complaints that the select board faced all have a piece related to bias and hate. So I think it's pretty safe to say that since July, the select board in one way, shape or another has used that item to discuss issues that have been contemporary through the course of the calendar year. And it's certainly hopeful that these events go away. Logically, they're not going to. So it's reasonable for us to periodically examine where we stand. This is a vehicle for us to do that.
Anyone else?
I think it's a discussion for once the working group is done.
Okay. Is that fair? Once the working group
Say
is
again.
done? He said a discussion for once the working group is done. So this agenda item will stay on here for May, and then when the working group is done, the school committee can discuss it.
No, I think the school committee decides either way, but I think this doesn't take away input from the working group. It's the change of name perhaps makes a less triggering item on the agenda, but it's informed, as long as the working group exists, it's informed by the information that is gleaned from the working group. It's not gonna, it doesn't take that away. I think it's for us to think about. Focus is not just on the information from the working group, how that impacts or how that influences what we do in our schools. It also makes the item a little bit broader, that we're not just looking at the working group, we're looking at what's happening in our house. And as informed by the information we get from the working group, as informed by the information we can get from the DEI commission, and how it tells us about how we should look at what's happening in our house. So I don't think it needs to wait. It's not either or, it's both and.
Okay, so anyone else? No. Okay, so I am going to, for May, because again, if I go back to February and I committed to putting on every agenda for the rest of the year, the topic will be the same. And the working group will finish in May, on May 15th, and then the future goes on after that. Make sense? Okay, all right, case collaborative. All right, Lori has prepared, she's sharing a memo with us, and I will share this, this is on a capital.
You want me to just?
Yeah, just go ahead. I'm like, just go ahead, thank you.
So as members of Case Collaborative, I sit on the board. Anytime there's a change to the capital plan, which isn't all that often, but it formally has to be approved. Or you can, if you don't act, it's gonna default to approved. Voting probably makes more sense. So we just have to give you an update on the proposed capital reserve plan that we have an account, there's no money in it right now, so this is not a financial ask. We're just here to give you the vision, which we need every school committee member. So all the districts that are members have to go through this in a public session and agree that this direction makes sense, or don't act at all and it will default to approval. And once we all have done this exercise, then CASE as a board can revisit how to fund some capital. So you'll see the highlights here, and some of you are very new to CASE discussions, so we have special ed programming as a portion of the services CASE provides. We also have transportation as a very big portion of the services that CASE provides. We have some PD offerings also. PD doesn't require capital, so we don't have an ask there. Instructional programs, which are housed either at the Colebrook High School and building in Acton, that's a standalone building, or within CASE member schools. We host the summer program every year at Willard, so that's our attempt at a contribution since we don't have any permanent space right now. So the visions include land acquisition, improvement, and construction. We think there's going to be growing needs for standalone settings because more and more districts are building programs. So that continues to be a discussion. That's why that number is so big. Photocopiers, furniture, and then transportation, similar. Envisioning electrifying eventually and some of those things down the road, and then the never-ending need to purchase vans. So we're asking your consideration. Again, this is not a funding request, it's just simply an update to the capital vision of the collaborative.
So I would entertain a motion to approve the CASE Collaborative proposed capital plan revision.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
And this is both.
This is for both districts. Yep.
Check aye for both.
Oh, no, me, sorry, I was like, Keller, I for region. Perfect. I was waiting for you to go.
I know, because I interrupted last time. Morano, aye for both.
Majority aye for both.
Rankin, I for both.
Watterson, aye for region.
Williams, aye for both.
Okay. And the last discussion item, I'm actually let Brian present this one. I didn't even tell you about this. And this is an amenities building update because you have some news from Carlisle.
Oh, I
You
can
share
kick it off with that.
Yeah, kick it
and
off with
then,
that. And
And
then
then
I'll-
he's asked Bob to be ready.
Yeah, Bob's gonna give some additional updates, but I think as we all know that the amenities building will be up for vote in town meetings in both towns, Concord this month and Carlisle next month. On the Carlisle side, as we move towards town meeting, last week, the Carlisle Select Board voted to support the amendment for CPA funding for the amenities building. So that's good news.
Fully funded. They voted to fully fund.
Their
their share. It's great.
April 15th, I guess I will be recording a podcast for Carlisle like I did last year
Oh,
to help get the word out.
So
so-
perhaps we could share that with Concord too and push it out there if you're recording it anyway.
Yes, well perhaps
'Cause
you
you
want
did
to, that'd be,
Perhaps.
or somebody else should, but yes, that was, I just learned that today. That
Oh,
they're
that'd be great.
trying to get podcasts for all the warrant articles and they are gonna have one for the amenities building.
So I think we should share that with Concord, because then we.
Is it a monologue or are you gonna?
I know.
I know, we don't know. I don't know.
That's what I was wondering.
Last year, I would, Julie and I were interviewed, so I would expect it to be
An
like
interview.
that because,
Very good.
It's great.
Thank you for doing that.
yep.
Would it
Make us proud. Sorry.
be beneficial for both of you, so it's something that you'd see both Concord and Carlisle in both Concord and Carlisle.
Yes, working
Concord.
together.
I mean,
Yes.
last, yeah,
Let's do it. Okay,
April 15th, 1:45, Carlisle Library.
okay. April 15th.
I'll send that to you.
Yeah, send that to me.
Should be scheduled after Bates Farm is open.
Is Kimball's open?
It will be open.
Next week.
Okay, perfect. Kimball's is open,
Or
okay.
wait,
I
Kimball's
didn't
opens this
know.
week,
This
It's opening
right?
this week.
tomorrow.
Okay, I say yes.
So now you
Ice
can come
cream
back
for
to our
lunch.
town.
And then you can
I knew what you
ice
meant.
cream to
There's
the
something to do.
April 15th school committee
I
meeting.
could bring ice cream to the meeting.
And Brian could come.
Yeah.
Brian could come. Okay, we're all working together. All right. Alright, I think
But
Ellen
yeah,
thought of
about
something.
things that you wanna make sure,
Yeah,
this is our last meeting.
Sure, just where we are, we've gone through kind of the process, got conceptual approval on, connecting to sewer. There is a last part of the process where our consultant, Kyle Rowan from Gale Associates has sent the detailed technical design documents to the Department of Public Works, specifically the Water Department, and one of their engineers, I'm not sure actually what his title is, but he reports to the Superintendent of Water and Sewer. We'll be reviewing that and providing, feedback to Kyle. I think he's already incorporated some feedback that's come up before, so, we're not expecting to hear anything, but if there's any feedback to consider some type of, when I'm talking about changing the design as a macro level, I might be talking about a specific piece of equipment that they have a preference for, but, so we'll wait to hear from them, and respond to it if there are any questions. So that's, they need to take some time to digest it. There's a lot of detailed technical information for them to review. And assuming that goes, that goes well, we wait till town meeting, we can then post the bid. This is not something, we've already talked to the athletic director and the principals. This is something that, we'd anticipate taking some time. It would happen, during the school year, and we'd be over on a section next to the track, and we'd have to work out built into the specs, like segregating the space so it's safe and not accessible to students.
Like it would be fenced, like a construction fence, yeah.
Typical construction
Yeah.
fencing. And they can sequence their work too to do certain things, like the underground pipe that they need to put in. I think they would do that first, and the actual building of the building itself would be the last thing they do. But we'll connect to sewer. That part goes underground and will go uphill towards the connection point on the access road.
Okay.
Anyway, so I think so far so good, and we'll be happy to move forward with this, knock on wood, after town meeting and get this moving.
So if you see yourself going out to bid after both town meetings, and should it be approved at both town meetings, when do you think they'll actually break ground?
In the summer, but I think the actual building itself, there's things they have to do to get the site, do the site prep first. So, he said this is gonna go into the fall, into potentially even to November, December. I will have more of a definitive project timeline from him. It may depend whether we have any feedback from water and sewer, but it's not something that's gonna be done over the summer.
No. And how long does it take to, like, when you go out to bid, you leave like it open for a period of time?
We wanna, I would check and see what the feedback, I'd probably send an email out to the business officer listserv for this type of project.
Yep.
We wanna allow time for people to see it and be interested and respond to it. So I can certainly, one thought would be to put it in there's a goods and services register that all these companies see, to maybe put it in there early as an anticipated bid, so that they see it, so that when we do post it, people are ready to bid on it.
Yeah.
But I can't share the specs until after it's been
approved, yeah, okay.
So and at least a month, people need to be able to review it and respond, and maybe a little bit more than that.
Okay.
I don't remember what we did for the middle school project. It's not that big, but we certainly would allow.
Yeah.
It's not like something else that we might just say, we're just gonna give you 3 weeks. It's a simple.
Yeah. Significant, okay.
And cost, are we still feeling good about the range?
Yeah, we have, I mean, nothing's changed to the projection. And we do have a safety net of some capital stabilization funds. Some of that's gonna cover the sewer connection fee, but there is some additional amount there if we need to access it, if their cost ends up coming in higher. And we did build some contingency into the price. I mean, the first pass didn't include much contingency, so in the second pass, I asked that they put a little bit more to, say that there could be bid escalation of closer to 5 to 10%. But we need to have bidders and some competition too. It's just one company bidding, so. But I think it's an attractive project. This is not an uncommon project for companies to bid on.
Any other questions or comments on the amenities building?
Thank you.
No, thank you. And with that,
A great test of persistence, and Brian is crushing it.
crushing it, yeah. It only took 3 years, it's okay.
Alright. I move that the Concord School Committee and Concord-Carlisle School Committee will enter into executive session under purpose 3 of the open meeting law to conduct strategy sessions with respect to litigation and not return to open session.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Check aye.
Kelleher, aye.
Morano, aye.
Richardi, aye.
Rankin, aye.
Watson, aye.
Williams, aye.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Good night.